The fireworks came late into the night, but the Astros offense showed definite signs of life. Can they keep smiling tonight against the A's? Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Comcast Sportsnet. Houston brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight it's Game 2 of this 3-game weekend series. The Astros take on the Oakland A's. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown, Jeff Blum, Alan Ashby. We saw Oakland win last night. Jeff Blum, the Astros now have made a player change, and Dallas Keuchel is joining the club tonight.
Yeah, he got off somebody's back down there in AAA, and he's going to make the jump up here to the big leagues and try and help us out and back into our bullpen and maybe be that long guy we've been looking for.
There you see the plans for the starting rotation, those piggybacking starts. So he was to get a start the next time through with Cosart relieving. That's the way they're doing it. But now he's the long guy in the bullpen with a predominantly right-handed starting rotation.
Yeah, this whole piggyback thing is pretty interesting. It's something Jeff Luhnow instituted over in St. Louis, brought over here. Doesn't plan on doing it the whole season, but is going to use it to maybe evaluate these guys a little bit better throughout the course of the season. And then opening day in Corpus Christi and Lancaster, it proved to be successful.
Well, Alan Ashby, there have been a rash of strikeouts so far for Astros hitters, but Jose Altuve has hit his way well through the first 4 games.
22 years of age, already an all-star in the major leagues, getting off to a terrific start to the 2013 campaign. 7 hits already. He's had 3 2-hit games. That is rare on this club right now. He can swing the bat. There's no question about it. Uses the entire field. He's driven in a couple of runs. Jose Altuve is not just a one-sided player, though. On the defensive side of the game, he has been playing beautifully. This was one of the fine plays we've seen already on the season, reacting well to get the double play on top of it. Jose Altuve is making all the plays, swinging the bat, and really leading this club once again.
Yeah, he's been a lot of fun to watch, and he's bringing that right attitude, and hopefully it starts to wear off on some of these guys that are in that dugout with him.
Coming up, it's Julia Morales waiting for our next segment with Justin Maxwell. We'll get right to it after this.
Game series. I'm with center fielder Justin Maxwell, who's been off to a pretty good start for you, hitting .286 through the first 4 games with a couple of triples on opening day. How do you feel so far?
I feel pretty good. Spring training got me ready for the season, so I got my legs under me, and I'm feeling good.
Through 4 games, what's the vibe in the clubhouse?
Vibe's pretty positive. We come out with a lot of energy every day. We're still looking to get our bats going, and we have Altuve to lead the way, and he's off to a hot start. So, we're just going to go out and battle every day, and just
pretty good start for you, hitting 286 through the first 4 games with a couple of triples on opening day. How do you feel so far?
I feel pretty good. Spring training got me ready for the season, so I have my legs under me, and really good.
Through 4 games, what's the vibe in the clubhouse?
Vibe's pretty positive. We come out with a lot of energy every day. We're still looking to get our bats going, and we have Altuve to lead the way, and he's off to a hot start. So, we're just going to go out and battle every day, and just try to win tonight.
A couple of losses behind you now. What's important for this club to do tonight to get back into the series and then maybe eventually take it from Oakland?
I think just to have a short memory. Baseball's a tough game, and it's a marathon, not a sprint. So if we can just hone our focus in on what we have to do tonight to win the ball game and just take it on a daily basis and go from there, I think we'll be fine.
Thank you, Justin. Good luck tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, stay with us. Coming up, the first pitch, Bud Norris on the mound for the Astros.
Is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Come to Jack in the Box today and try the new Hot Mess Burger. It's loaded with spicy jalapenos, onion rings, and gooey pepper jack cheese. And by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. What a gorgeous night here in downtown Houston at Minute Maid Park, where it's Game 2 of this 3-game series and Game 5 of the homestand for the Astros. They'll pack their bags and leave town after the game tomorrow on a 9-game, 10-day road trip. And we'll take a look now at the starting lineup for Bob Melvin's Oakland A's. It's Coco Crisp in center field, Jed Lowry at shortstop, Josh Reddick in right field, Yoenis Cespedes in left field. The DH is Seth Smith. Brandon Moss is at first base with Josh Donaldson at third. Derek Norris is the catcher with Eric Sogard, the second baseman. Pitcher would be Bartolo Colon. And Ash, here's the Houston pitcher.
Bud Norris takes to the mound, his second start on the year, so he is, as the opening day started, the only guy now to be able to get to the hill twice. Pitched very well in that opener, picked up the win in 5 2/3 innings, allowing just a couple of runs. Surprisingly, in allowing a couple of runs, he gave up more runs than any of the first couple of starters anyway that followed him. So Bud Norris and the staff pitching very well.
The starting staff has a 2.49 ERA through the first 4 games, but the Astros are 1-3. Bud is facing Oakland for the first time in his career. And it's Crisp who led off the game last night with a homer to right field against Brad Peacock. Stepping up, he also had 2 doubles and a walk. He drove in 3 in last night's game. Batting average up to 286, and he's driven in 3 runs. First baseman Pena moves in tight, and there's ball one. Crisp has very good numbers, 348 on base average, 571 slugging for the first few games. Norris throws ball two, and it's 2 balls, no strikes for Bud. Bud threw 97 pitches on Sunday night. He's working with an extra day rest. Lucas Harrell goes tomorrow. That's in for a strike to make it 2-1.
These Oakland A's as hitters will take some pitches. They're certainly willing to draw the walk, and they do so fairly well around the American League.
Well, there's strike two. Chris looking at that one to work the count to 2-2 now.
That leadoff home run a night ago came on a hanging curveball.
The A's are 6-1 against the Astros. Back to the interleague play, but now they'll be seeing a whole lot more of each other this season with 3 series in each city. That's bounced to first, and there's an easy hop for Carlos Pena. 1 out.
Take a trip around the field with the Houston Astros. In left field, Chris Carter, Justin Maxwell in center. J.D. Martinez with his first start of the year in right field. Matt Dominguez at third. Cedeno at short. Marwin taking over at second base today while Altuve DHs. Carlos Pena at first. Bud on the mound, and Castro's going to be receiving.
Jed Lowry checks in at 438 with a homer. He's driven in 3. He has 4 doubles. Shortening up and looking at ball one. Lowry playing a lot of shortstop now with the injury to the Japanese-born Hiroyuki Nakajima. And Lowry has a 4-game hitting streak to open the season. He had a single and a couple of walks last night. And the former Astro looks at ball 2. Jed really had a good offensive season for the Astros last year. I don't think the numbers describe what he did. He hit 244, but he had 16 homers and 340 at bats.
I think that batting average sometimes can be misconstrued depending on who you are. I know leadoff guys on base percentage and batting average might mean a lot, but for guys that can drive the ball in the gaps and drive runs, and that's all you're focused on is production.
Problem with that is when you get in the ballpark and they throw that number up there for everybody to see, it's that batting average. That's
but hopefully you can point to another one that's in the RBI column. But,
that pitch, Plummer.
We'll take that.
84 miles per hour.
There's a changeup, first one of the night, and a good one. You can see reaction, hit fastball. Everything gets out in front, and the changeup finds the strike zone.
And Tim Wilkie's usually a little more pitcher friendly. He's got a history of that.
Lowry very unhappy with the Welke strike 3 call. Got a question for you, Ash, about mixing in that changeup earlier. First of all, here's this.
Good breaking ball, and whether on or off that inside corner, very well placed by Bud Norris. I am a lover of the changeup, whether it comes in straight changeup form, splitter, whatever it may be. And so any time for me is a good time with the changeup. A lot of people say, well, not with 2 strikes. Great strikeout pitch. I think a guy that gives good arm speed can throw at any time.
There's ball 1 to Josh Reddick, our AT&T tweet of the game. Josh Reddick at Josh Reddick. 16 to everyone telling me to shave, or those who will tell me to shave. No. Okay.
Yeah, keep it simple. Just say no.
Brevity is a good thing.
1 ball, 1 strike. Reddick with 1 homer, 4 runs batted in, a 188 average. Last night had a single and 2 walks. He also stole a base. That's the Sunfield out there, and that's where it goes to J.D. Martinez as he backs on it and makes the play. So 1-2-3 first for Bud Norris. The Astros are up right after this. designated hitter tonight. Leading it off, Ronnie Cedeno, Chris Carter, Carlos Pena, Justin Maxwell, Jason Castro, J.D. Martinez, Matt Dominguez, and Marwin Gonzalez in that lineup for Bo Porter. Against the veteran 39-year-old right-hander, Ash.
He is a veteran, and he tips the scales at about 265 is what they have him listed at. But he's been a good one when healthy. Last year wound up being suspended, PED situation, missed the first 5 days of this season. But again, when the vet is healthy and throwing well, he can be successful.
Altuve has hit in every game of the 4 for the Astros. 438, no homers, 2 runs batted in. Getting that rest from playing second as he DHs and smacks one on a hop. Lowry takes care of it. Thanks to the tag by Moss. The throw was offline. Moss later dropped it, but had gotten the out call by Mike Everett as Lowry's throw sailed.
This is another case of Jose Altuve squaring one up. Hits the ball very sharply, but right at an infielder.
It's always a tough play running down to first. They always say to try and recognize the first baseman making that move off the bag and maybe sliding underneath. But a lot of times when you're running that fast and have to make a quick adjustment like that, bad things happen. So I'm okay with Altuve trying to skirt the tag, but not going down and risking injury right there.
Ronnie Cedeno 2 for 6. Looks at strike one.
One of the ways to get that play done is to wind up diving and extending maybe your left hand at the bag, but that diving play is one that produces a lot of injuries.
Sure does. No balls, 2 strikes to Cedeno. The Astros starting shortstop has hit in each of the first 4 games, whether it's Cedeno or Marwin Gonzalez. Ronnie is 0 for 16 lifetime against Oakland pitching. Colon, woo, he gets a high strike call. He throws a lot of strikes, though, Ash.
He does, and he throws a lot of high strikes. He's one of those fastball pitchers that doesn't have great velocity numbers anymore, but gets by for whatever reason, deception or whatever, with the high cheese.
Around the field for the Oakland Athletics, Yoenis Cespedes in left, Coco Crisp in center, Josh Reddick in right, Josh Donaldson at third, Jed Lowry at shortstop, Eric Sogard at second base, Brandon Moss at first base, not in the Oakland Bay Area.
Yeah.
And Norris behind the plate with Bartolo Colon.
Chris Carter is 1 for 15, the former A, taking ball 1 there. He started his career 0 for 33 as an A. Fly ball hangs up in the shallow right center field. And Sogard takes care of it. Both pitchers very efficient, very quick, and a scoreless first. Base runners in the first. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Saturday night, the roof open, nice breeze, perfect temperature. It is a wonderful place to be as the Astros play the A's. The finale of the homestand will be tomorrow. That's a 1:05 start for Lucas Harrell and Brett Anderson. And Brett Anderson's folks live in this area, also his sister. His father is the pitching coach for the University of Houston. They're on the road this weekend, but his mother and his sister will be here to watch him pitch. And Lucas Harrell, like Brett Anderson, 0-1 as they match up tomorrow at 1:10. Pre-game show at 12:30 for Lucas Harrell and Brett Anderson tomorrow. Now, Yoenis Cespedes at 158 with 2 homers has 5 runs batted in. He was 0 for 5 last night, but had an RBI.
Yeah, he's the one that ruined that 5th inning for us by hitting that bullet off Marwin Gonzalez.
Wow, didn't he? There's strike one. Eduardo Perez said that ball came off his bat at 118 miles per hour.
I believe it.
That was a 7-run 5th inning for the A's.
We've got stats for everything.
We've got radar guns. We've got stats.
Yeah.
All kinds of intelligence.
Well, 10th Major League season for Bob Melvin. And Bud Norris is outstanding here at Minute Maid Park in his career. And Ash, here's the question about the changeup. Bud's thrown that a few times early.
He is.
Some people think you should kind of keep that in your pocket for later. Where are you on that?
I don't have that issue, because if you've thrown it early, you leave hitters guessing for it maybe at times, and your fastball gets better later in the ball game. So either way, you've got one pitch certainly that is should be this a surprise and strong weapon.
Good point. But if you show that pitch early, that has to be in the hitter's mind for the 2nd time up and 3rd time up.
I think it is, but I think Jeff can confirm as a hitter generally you're looking fastball speed, trying to use good fundamentals, keep your hands back and adjust well. I think if you don't throw the changeup early, it's a field pitch, and when you try to use it later, you may not have it.
Foul back.
That foul is at 78 miles an hour.
Okay.
Can't believe Sparky ran out of the way of that one, man.
Steve Sparks over in Astros radio could have had a play on that.
You call that running?
Well, for him it is.
Sparky normally makes that play. Not this time. In the dirt, it's 2 balls, 2 strikes for Bud Norris.
I always felt early in the game, my first at bat, if I could see every one of the pitcher's pitches, I had a better chance later in the game, because it wouldn't shock me too much. But if early on and with nobody on, you can take some pitches, work some counts. Everything changes with guys on base, but early on it'd be nice to see as many pitches as you can.
Well, that was great location, and that's where I was going to go with my follow-up comment is location can solve just about anything. With any one of your pitches, if you put them in a good location, you've got a chance. Now, Cespedes, for instance, right there, may have been looking fastball, but that heater right off the inside edge becomes effective.
Yeah, that was a really good pitch right there. That was a great location.
And he struck him out. Good tilt on the slider for Bud. Strikeout number 2. Here's his opener against the Rangers.
Strong outing, too, for Bud Norris. Again, 5 2/3 innings in that game. Gets away with a fastball probably hittable, but because he showed the slider and fastballs up out of the zone, very effective night. I think Bud set the tone for what the starters have been able to do this first week.
Dan, we're counting on him to be a stopper for this streak we got going right now.
Need that guy.
Seth Smith has a very good career average against the Astros, 340. Strike 1 to Smith, the DH, formerly with the Colorado Rockies. He cracks that one foul.
After that first pitch breaking ball thrown right through the heart of the plate for a called strike, and you'll get a lot of those on a first pitch breaking ball. The fastball follow up leaves the left-hand hitter very late.
Glad he was late. That early souvenir. Smith is 2 for 5. And the breaking ball is down. Did he check his swing? He did on the appeal to Scott Berry. 1-2. Last year, Norris was really phenomenal at Minute Maid Park. He had a home ERA of 1.71. That was 2nd in the majors with a minimum of 10 starts.
Really surprises me. Yes, it's a big ballpark from gap to gap. but it's so shallow in left field and not much longer in right field that you would think some mistakes along the way would cost you.
True. Well, that home ERA last year for Bud was third best in Astros history for a single season. Mike Cuellar had the best home ERA. That was back in Astrodome days, 1968, 1.57. Bob Nepper at a 1.22, even better than that in the strike shortened season of 1981. So, correction, Bob Nepper was the best.
You know, back in the old days, the original configuration of the Astrodome, it was such a pitcher favorable ballpark. In fact, I think a lot of the hitters that would come through on opposing teams would tell you, even when they shorten things a bit, that just the lighting and the way things set up visually in there, it was still a pitcher friendly ballpark.
Yeah, that first game of a series, if a team came in and playing outdoor baseball somewhere and faced J.R. Richard or Nolan Ryan, those were quick games usually.
Well, those two guys could have pitched in a lot of Pony League ballparks and gotten the hitters out.
True. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Norris has certainly fallen right into a very nice pattern in this ballpark. There's a liner, and it's caught by Marwin Gonzalez. That's out number 2. Our Firestone Complete Auto Care Extra Mile Index dives into some Astros pitching history as well to follow up on that theme. All-time Astros leaders for 1,500 innings or more. Nolan Ryan, 9.05 strikeouts per 9. Then it was J.R. Richard, Roy Oswalt, and Shane Reynolds.
That guy right there, both of those guys, struck a lot of fear in the hearts of hitters, especially the right-hand hitters. They were so tough.
Absolutely. Brandon Moss, his wife is about to give birth to a baby, unless she has already. We haven't heard anything about that. 1 for 11. There's ball 1. So he's got to be on pins and needles if that's still not happened. But he can't go on paternity leave until the baby arrives, we're told. 2 balls, no strikes. Moss put together a very good home run season, and the ratio of home runs per at bats for this club last year. Former outfielder. He looks at that one down and in for a ball. And it's 3-0 to Brandon Moss. Moss is 29 years old. He hit 21 homers in 265 at bats last year. He had a .596 slugging percentage. Pena in the sunlight there. 3-1.
Yeah, those are pretty impressive numbers. Averaging 1 home run every 12.6 at bats. Puts you in Giancarlo Stanton company. Jose Bautista. Take that on a season.
Yeah. Foul ball makes it 3-2. Well, Ash got to watch Jose Bautista the last several years in Toronto. He is one impressive hitter, Ash.
There are times you make deals during the course of the season, and they're just those deals that fly under the radar. Fans and execs, everybody really don't pay much attention to them. That's what the Jose Bautista deal from the Pirates was when Toronto picked him up initially.
Back out into left field. Cedeno looks at Carter. Carter has it. And that's 6 in a row. Set down by Bud Norris, who struck out 2. runners so far. Bartolo Colon first faced the Astros back in the late 90s when he was with the Cleveland Indians. Had that long at bat for Ricky Gutierrez. That was a 20-pitch at bat against Colon, and he just kept fouling off pitches. Carlos Pena is 2 for 14 to open the season. He's hit 3 career homers off Colon, and that's ball 1. Colon doesn't throw as hard as he did back in those days, of course, but can still clock it up around 93.
Still pumps that fastball a good percentage of the time, maybe as much as anybody in the game these days.
That's to left field. And Cespedes right there in his tracks for the catch. You know, I was thinking, Ash, that we've seen a lot of wild swings at balls out of the zone from Astros hitters last couple games, and this guy is known for putting that ball somewhere around the strike zone. That might play into their hand a little bit tonight.
You would think so. You would think that that ability to say, okay, we're going to get more fastballs tonight, many of which will be up in the strike zone. Let's see if we can hit some balls hard. And I think that's a key for a ball club that's struggling. Start just trying to hit some balls hard instead of, boy, I've got to get a hit.
And I think the knowledge of Colon, he's been around forever. So there's probably plenty of videotape on him, and Carlos Pena's probably had a number of bats against him. So I mean, there's probably some talk in the dugout, some comparative notes that they can throw at each other. But yeah, knowing that he throws close to 85-90% fastballs and he's around the zone has got to be a comforting feeling for these Astro hitters.
He's won 171 games. Right in for strike 2 to Justin Maxwell with that 286 average, and he was a Cy Young Award winner in 05 with the Angels, going 21-8 that year. In 02 he was 20-8 with Cleveland and Montreal. In 99 he was 18-5. He's had some terrific years. In the air, and the infielders move in for it. Lowry, 2 down.
Another fastball inducing the pop-up, but a fastball up, maybe out of the strike zone. Colon keeps pumping that pitch, but even in that at bat against Maxwell, you could see he had one where he runs it starting off the outside corner and then brings it to the corner. You see he throws almost 90% fastballs compared to the average around the major leagues, well below that, and velocity declining, and yet he continues to have success as the numbers drop.
But I think it's a credit to the fact he throws nothing but 2-seamers. He's got really good run on his fastball, so he's pretty comfortable throwing that at any time, anywhere in the zone.
Ball 1 to Jason Castro at 067. 1 for 15. Colon was 10-9 for Oakland last year. He made 24 starts before that suspension. It's 2-0, and it was for testosterone use. So he served 40 games of that 50-game suspension to end the regular season, 5 more in the playoffs, and the first 5 of this season. So he comes back to the roster tonight, replacing Dan Straley. Bounce lazily out to second. Sogard over to first, and that's 6 straight for Colon as well. No score, no base runners through 2. Felder on Sports Talk Live as we wrangle up some noteworthy sports guests that have plenty of buzzworthy opinions and play-by-play analysis. You'll never know who will stop by on Sports Talk Live until you watch weekdays at 5 o'clock. Final in from up north, Arlington, Texas. Anaheim, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim beating Texas 8-4. And that was a game we were watching, Jeff. Albert Pujols, by the way, hit 2 homers in that game, but a couple of times he was walked intentionally to face Josh Hamilton. In fact, 3 times, wasn't it, in that game?
Yes, it was. 3 times in one game they intentionally walked Albert Pujols to get to Josh Hamilton. I think we saw the stat that said only 4 times that's happened to Josh Hamilton in the last 5 years. So I think Texas was using a part of I think the fans may have come in and been the 10th man for them in those situations.
Josh Donaldson leads it off, hitting 118. So good rivalry between those two. There's ball 1. Donaldson, a converted catcher, is taken very well to playing third base. Had a 2-run single last night and a walk. Norris missing that one, and it's 2 balls, no strikes. By starting Norris on Sunday night, opening night, Bo Porter gets him twice at home on this opening homestand, and Lucas Harrell also getting 2 starts. Will go tomorrow. They both pitch extremely well here at Minute Maid Park. A good play by Matt Dominguez. He's smooth, just like Jeff Blum did it. Out number 1.
I appreciate that, Brownie, but he looks real good over there. Good footwork. Always seems to be in the right position and gets good read on those balls. Dress it up with a 360 move and make a good strong throw.
Yeah, I like the 360, taking his time and not trying to make a bigger play out of it than he had to.
Derek Norris is doing the catching tonight, hitting 200 in the early games. John Jaso caught last night, delivered a couple of hits. So they evidently will share the position this season. Jaso's a better hitter so far anyway. Strike 1 to Norris, but he bats left and Norris bats right. So Bob Melvin can do some platooning if he wants.
Norris, plenty of pop. He's one of those guys that kind of like Mike Napoli a little bit early on, where Napoli was and still is a power threat, hasn't developed into that kind of hitter yet.
Former catcher Bob Melvin watched Norris swing at that. He was really fooled, it looked like, by that slider. Derek's 24 years old from Goddard, Kansas. Hit 201 for the A's last year in 209 at bats. He came up with Washington and then was traded to Oakland in a multiplayer deal. In the air, and it goes out to Marwin Gonzalez, or behind him J.D. Martinez. 2 outs.
We are watching a couple of pitchers dominating the game. Good way to get that infielder out of the play whenever possible. Let the outfielder coming in make the play.
I completely agree on that. Keep infielders away from pop flies. That ball's in the air. Let somebody else take it.
Well, the way most teams that I've been associated with will play that is infielder maybe not necessarily calling. If they do, fine and dandy. But if the outfielder calls, the question is no longer out there. The outfielder takes it.
Yeah, believe it. You, as an infielder, you're always taught, go until you're called off. And J.D. did a good job of making it nice and loud and letting him know that he had that ball, especially when Marwin, you can see, was starting to backpedal a little bit, and that's when infielders get into trouble.
Eric Sogard takes that one off the plate for ball 2. Sogard's hit 167. He has started all but 1 at second base so far for Oakland.
Don't see many players with the glasses like this anymore.
Nope.
Looks like he can get you a hit and do your taxes right after.
He might be able to do that. Two balls and a strike. They had a crowded situation at second base in spring training, and he has emerged, at least in the early going, as the guy who's going to get that playing time. Way up, and it's 3 balls and a strike. Bud looking down at his finger. He's been bothered in the past by some blister problems. Bud thinks he has that pretty well solved by now.
The way he's acting out on the mound with that finger, I would think there would be some concern in the dugout for the Astros.
He's using that rice bucket for conditioning on the finger, and it's something Steve Carlton used to work out doing. Just plunge his hand deep into a bucket of rice, and there's something about that rice that toughens up the skin apparently on the fingers, Ash.
Yeah, it draws out the oils, and to me that kind of goes contrary to what you would think would be the best thing to do.
Carter over near the left field line. That's 9 straight set down by Bud Norris. Jim Crane joins us in a scoreless game. Joining us, and he's been out in the community again at Moody Park. 2 more baseball fields have been built and opened. And how many total is that now, Jim? Are you keeping track of all?
Well, we're trying to do 12 city parks and really redo them and get the kids out playing and provide more opportunities for the kids. We had a great turnout today, as you can see by the pictures there, and some very enthusiastic future Astros.
And Calpine Corporation, in partnership with the Astros, building those fields.
Great to see the kids out, and you have to think that if you can get them out playing, it'll encourage them to come out to the ballpark.
J.D. Martinez beats it out, and there's the first base runner of the game. So maybe some future J.D. Martinez's out there today. Got to start, Jim.
Well, we had a number of players out there. Jose Altuve came out, and Carlos Correa came out, and Neighbors did a very nice job. Not only did they help renovate the fields, but they also provided all the kids with a bat bag and a helmet. And all of these companies are pitching in more, and a lot of their employees are out there. So it's good to see the community get engaged, and the kids were really excited today.
Matt Dominguez is hitting 300 in the early games. There's strike 1. Well, Bud Norris is pitching the way Jim Crane used to pitch at Central Missouri. He looks sharp tonight.
Well, that's so long ago we can hardly remember, but I'm glad he's throwing up zeros.
How did you deal with the blister problems?
Well, we didn't play a lot of games back then, so never ran into that problem.
No balls, 2 strikes. As we talk about what happened there at Moody Park, we saw the shots earlier today, and you've been out in other areas of the community and really sprucing up some of those inner city neighborhoods with some bright spots and some good, safe places for the kids to spend their time. That goes way back for you, doesn't it?
Well, certainly I played as a kid like that and rode my bike to the park, and that's how I started playing baseball. So you remember these things, and certainly we had that today to give something back. We'll also have the kids in the ballpark. We give away 50 to 100 tickets a night for those sponsors to have the kids in the park that may not have had the opportunity or been able to afford it before. So that's really great.
It's a big part of continuing the tradition of baseball in this city. And what's especially satisfying, Jim, I'm sure for you, is to look out when you come to the ballpark, and we looked out Sunday at this sellout crowd we had Sunday night, and see all the families there.
Well, you want to get the families out to the park. The kids have fond memories of that, and they all talk about that as they get older, about their dad bringing them to the ballpark, and those are kind of the things we want to create, and along with getting the kids out there playing. And, again, this program will donate $18 million to city parks thanks to our sponsors, and we should have the rest of the names up there by the middle of May, so we're having good success with it.
Very good.
How many fields does that involve? $18 million sounds like a lot.
Well, it is a lot of money. That will be over a 5-year period, but each company puts up $250,000 a year to maintain the fields, and then $250,000 to renovate them to start with. There's usually 4 to 6 fields. Today was only 2 really pristine fields that they put the money in, but the average is about 4 fields where you can play, 4 different, really separate leagues there. And so we're trying to get more and more kids out to play.
Marwin Gonzalez on deck as the throw goes over. And, we've been out to some of these fields, Jim, talked to some of the people who run the programs, and they stress that the kids who do not have fathers have a mentor and that father figure type person. And it goes beyond baseball. It's a development throughout their youth into a man for these guys, and that's where it all begins, isn't it?
Well, certainly we want to keep the kids engaged and working hard, and baseball teaches you a lot of those qualities when you're playing. Determination, respect, play by the rules. All those things come into play and really help develop the kids, both the boys and the girls. We're playing softball too, so it's good to see them out.
Okay, great.
You guys involved like pitching machines?
Lowry to second, and he gets the force there for out number 1 on J.D. Martinez.
The reason I asked the question, baseball's a tough sport. You can't go out like with a basketball and just kind of shoot on your own or with a buddy. You've got to have some way to get some pitching involved and be able to hit, and just a tougher game to practice. And when there is a pitching machine, something like that, just a great way for the kids. I think kids would love it if they could get that opportunity.
Well, certainly we have it at the Urban Youth Academy. We have a separate batting cage, an indoor cage. Some of these areas have pitching machines and can use those things in a batting facility. And you're right, the continued practice and the ability to do that without, a whole team out there is important. But, they'll continue to develop the program, and more assets, I think, will be contributed to these leagues as everybody starts to catch on. What you find is these companies, once they get engaged, they want to do more. There are people that work there want to do more. So it's really starting to work.
Marwin Gonzalez with strike 1 has a .429 average in the early games. Marwin looks at a ball, 1-1. Well, with this ballpark and all the changes here, it's a brand new place, isn't it? With all the new logos, new paint. Diamond Club is huge now. It's almost twice the size that it was.
Trying to make good improvements on the ballpark. I think there was a zillion gallons of paint that were put on it with the new colors, the orange and blue. I haven't got a count on that yet, but and then you don't realize how many signs are in the ballpark until you start replacing them all with new logos. So they did a great job of getting that done, and of course the Diamond Club is remodeled, and our Diamond Club fans really love that place. And we can also use that place for events because it's got some room in it now and have speaking engagements and that sort of thing down there.
A zillion gallons at about $30 to $40 a gallon. That's a pretty sizable figure.
I'll get you a count on how many gallons, but it was a lot.
1 and 2. Well, from what you're hearing so far, what's the response to the move to the American League?
Well, everybody's excited about the new teams coming in. I mean, we're in a tough division, right out of the gate with 3 or 4 very good teams, and the team's going to have to play hard and win some ball games.
In the air, and second baseman Sogard is out into shallow right center. Well, let's take a look at what lies ahead for the Astros. They wrap up this homestand tomorrow at 1:10, and then on the road, 3 in Seattle, off day, 3 in Anaheim against the Angels, and then they move on to Oakland, come back here, play the Cleveland Indians. So it's a totally different feel for the fans, isn't it? And so maybe somebody has moved here from Cleveland, now has a chance to see the Indians and what have you on through the season.
Sure, it's going to be a little bit different. I noticed a few of those games are a little earlier, or at least one-day games. So, the games will be shown here at Reasonable Hour, and those that aren't, hopefully our good fans will stay up and watch.
Altuve has looked very sharp, Jim, in the early going this season.
He puts the bat on the ball wherever the ball is. That's for sure. I took a look at a replay the other night. He hit one above his head, I think.
He is an absolute hitting machine, and he just has that ability to expand his zone and still get good results. 1 ball, 1 strike.
A lot of people want to see him take some more pitches like this and maybe increase the ability to draw some walks. But to me, he is, as you say, he's a guy that can put the barrel of the bat on the ball so consistently. Maybe he can work it to a couple of strikes before he really forces putting the ball into play.
He was out today at the ballpark, nice enough to come out and say a few words to the kids, signed a lot of autographs. He's been a great help in those type of events. Every time we ask him to come out, he's always there.
I would imagine with the kids, they're able to go and stand next to an all-star from the National League and say, you know what? Maybe I've got a chance to play this game.
Right. Well, I think a couple of kids were taller than him today, so they're feeling good.
Fouls that one back. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Yeah, he is turning into quite a catalyst in the community, isn't he? As you say, he goes out in the community when you ask, and he's an all-star now, and so young and yet so accomplished at that young age.
He handles himself very nicely in those things, and like I said, every time we ask him, he's right there, and he's always smiling. He's got a great smile.
How about an upcoming poster outside the ballpark of Jose Altuve with J.J. Watt side by side?
Yeah. A little bouncer out to Lowry. Lowry shovels for the force play. Jim Crane, thanks so much for being on with us.
Thanks for the support, guys, and we'll keep those ballparks moving and keep the kids playing, and hopefully win a couple games here soon.
Sounds great.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Moody Park today.
The 4th. Astros' big and bright Friday nights are the perfect combination of baseball and family fun. Each Friday night game is followed by a spectacular fireworks show presented by Marathon Oil. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com to get your tickets today. Now, Marwin Gonzalez has been splitting time with Ronnie Cedeno at short, and he's impressed the skipper in his first 2 games as he's had 3 hits and 7 at-bats, including the single that broke up Yu Darvish's perfect game in the 9th earlier this week. Bo Porter put him in the lineup again, saying he's very deserving. and he's at second. He said one of the reasons that he got him in the Rule 5 draft was because of his defense. He's able to play multiple positions in the infield. And you see, second today, he's already made a nice grab, guys.
It's a way to get at bats, too, that ability to play the different positions on the infield, which he can do. Coco Crisp with a foul ball, 0-1.
Yeah, it's a huge asset for a ball club to have a guy that can roam around like that and give Altuve, a half-day rest, so to speak, by keeping him off the field on defense. But Bo's got a lot of guys that he can mix in and out, and we've seen it in the first 4 or 5 games here with the lineups that he's thrown out there.
No balls, 2 strikes to Coco Crisp. Cedeno shading up the middle. In the dirt, 1-2. Ash knows this, but I didn't. There were only 3 designated hitters in the American League last year who qualified for the batting title with the plate appearances they had only as a DH. So it seems that most teams do kind of rotate the DH.
Billy Butler among them.
Yep. Big Poppy.
Big Poppy.
Can't think of the third one offhand, but yeah, it's pretty rare to have a guy who only is the DH. Adam Dunn might have been the other one.
Well, he wasn't going to be in that running for the batting title. I can assure you that. But
no, not at all. not below 200.
He had quite a comeback year last year, though. The power game was back in full force. Local product.
Now it's 3 balls, 2 strikes to Crisp.
Adam Dunn could take that photo with J.J. Watt and come out looking pretty good.
Oh, yes, he could.
Yeah, he's a big human being.
Don't want to walk this guy with his speed. And get him to hit it in the air. Carter over, and he looks up, and Coco Crisp has hit it in the air and hit it out to the opposite field. Home run number 2 in as many games for Coco Crisp. And he takes advantage of that 3-2 offering and puts the A's on the board 1-0. As he did leading off the game last night.
And that's exactly what I was referring to about this ballpark. There's just a fly ball to left field that gets out, and Coco Crisp, not one of the big guys you anticipate going the other way with the long ball.
Yeah, pitch out up over the plate, but maybe caught a little bit of a jet stream. The flags seem to be blowing predominantly out towards where the window panels would be, but good grief.
That was a surprise. Lowry takes strike 1.
I think in watching batting practice today, balls were flying anywhere on that left side of the field.
Crisp pulled his home run to right field last night, batting left-handed. That's a looping liner out into right center. Lowry, and that's the type of hit he frequently gets. Lowry's aboard, and it's back-to-back hits now for the A's.
Not a bad pitch by Bud down the zone. Lowry just got underneath it and top spun it over Marwin's head for the base hit.
Sure did.
These Oakland A's are a club that thinks they have a chance to win that very tough West in the American League, and I think Lowry's a guy that fits in quite well to serve them with that chance to win.
He could really help their cause. Reddick lined out to right in the first inning. Reddick had a big year and led the A's in homers and runs batted in last season. That's strike 1 to him. Now Lowry's the type of shortstop who's good on a contending team because he doesn't make many mistakes.
His biggest key is just remaining on the field so he can contribute.
It certainly is. Upstairs, it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Josh Reddick, 26 years old. He fits into the A's plans quite nicely at that age. He won a Gold Glove in addition to leading the club in homers and runs batted in. He struck out 151 times last year. That's part of the package with him. 2 balls and a strike. You know, the A's have only 2 players who are under contract to them beyond this season. The Astros have none. When's the last time you remember 2 major league teams playing each other with a combined 2 players under contract beyond that season?
High school ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, our college team didn't have too many either.
Not too many.
I'll bet you had a few more than that.
2 and 2 for Bud Norris.
We are talking about Cal, right?
Yes.
Dallas Keuchel is in the bullpen tonight for the Astros. He was on his way from Memphis, where Oklahoma City is playing, during batting practice tonight. And he replaces Travis Blackley, who got hurt throwing a bullpen last night. 3 balls, 2 strikes. The Astros just traded for Travis Blackley, but he had been designated for assignment several days ago, so hadn't been able to do anything. He didn't have a team, so he did play catch one of those days, but had the unfortunate injury in the bullpen after arriving yesterday. So he's going to be sent to Florida now for some rehab time. And he was to have been the long man, the lefty long man in the bullpen. Now it's Keuchel.
He must have really been trying to impress him with that bullpen session. Maybe overthrew a little bit.
Might have.
It's too bad getting traded over, and the initial thing you do is go on the DL.
That's a rough one. In the air, and second baseman Marwin Gonzalez handles that one for out number 1.
Talk about a too-bad scenario. How about Edgar Gonzalez, who gets sent out to bring in the left-hander, and now he's just hanging out there.
Right. Exactly. And Edgar had just been added to the 40-man roster when he was promoted to the team with the injury to Alex White. It all started, though, with Alan Ashby. That's where this thing all started this year.
How did I get into this?
By breaking your ribs.
I think you've
That's
earned it,
right.
yeah.
That did kind of begin the downward slide,
He
didn't it?
set the tone. It went to Cespedes, struck out in the second inning.
Luckily, it's not how you start, it's how you finish,
That's
Ash. So
it.
we got plenty of season left.
Finish strong, boys.
Keep your chin up, kid.
As you've been here when it's counted. There's strength one.
Yeah, you're not missing any of that service time, so you're in good shape there.
Getting crushed in the booth.
Get ready for it. We've got a 9-game road trip coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it's within our own division, so not lengthy travel.
Well, how long is the flight to Seattle? 5 hours?
Well, I think the initial blast is 4.5, 4 and a quarter.
It's a long flight. Get there in plenty of time, though, and the opener there Monday night will be their home opener. King Felix got shelled a little bit today as they lost to the White Sox, so the Astros will miss him in that series. And that's always a positive.
Yeah, timed out pretty good, Brownie. That's a good point.
Sure did. As for the other pitchers in the rotation, we're going to be conferring with Alan Ashby on that series. Here's the flight.
Oh, it looks a lot closer on the map. Good grief.
Gosh, we'll be there in a flash.
I just want to remind folks the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line.
Yeah, that overarching effect right there.
1 and 2. Once we get out there, though, we have a short little flight down to Anaheim.
Yeah, I was going to say, you take that for granted being on the West Coast, but it's actually a 2.5 hour, 3 hour flight getting back down to Southern California.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Toronto shut out Boston behind Jay Happ today, 5-0. He beat John Lackey. J.P. Arancibia hit his 3rd homer. Colby Rasmus number 2. John Farrell got even. He had some fun last night as they apparently they booed John Farrell for leaving Toronto and going to Boston. He said he completely understood that. Said let him have fun. And Josh Hamilton had remarks kind of similar to that for the booing he got from Ranger fans yesterday. He said, hey, if that's what it takes for them to show up in big numbers, go for it.
Yeah, he's not going to back off that comment. Hey, quite frankly, he's right. It is football country. but they've been very supportive on the baseball side.
Cespedes strikes out. Strikeout number 4 for Bud Norris.
Flip side there, though, is that Josh Hamilton was a key component of why they were winning and therefore drawing fans.
And here's another good reason for the turnout they probably had this week, too.
No doubt.
Seth Smith lined out to second back in the second inning. Bud Norris is 18-14 at home, 11-23 on the road in his career. Home ERA 3.5, road ERA 5.39. Big differential in the career split of Bud Norris. Right there for a strike on Smith. The A's have scored 22 runs in their previous 3 games coming into this one. Bo Porter has seen his starters deliver each time out. Last night's outing by Brad Peacock was going well. Check swing call makes it 1-1, but Peacock was lifted after 4 1/3 because he had thrown 89 pitches, and Bo really didn't want to push him that much further in his first start of the year.
It was clear that Peacock wasn't at his sharpest best, but he battled very well. His stuff looked good.
Yeah, he said that he was a little overamped for that first big league start of this year, but definitely settled in those last couple innings that he was out there.
Former Seattle Mariner Eric Bedard will get his first start Tuesday night in Seattle. And tight to appeal on the swing. They got him.
That was a good pitch in and of itself. I'm surprised he didn't get the call to begin with. He punched out a guy earlier in the game with that same pitch, but Seth Smith couldn't lay off that one.
Well, I thought he had checked it. Let's see.
Maybe trying to make up for one earlier in the AB that he checked on.
What do you think, Ash?
Well, that bat goes through the plate for me. To the naked eye, I wasn't so sure that he hadn't checked it as well.
2-2.
The only thing I look at from the side is, does the bat get to or through the home plate area as the ball's coming through?
I agree. I'd kind of judge it on that front edge of the plate. If bat goes anywhere past that, there's a pretty good chance you're going to get rung up on a strike.
Smith was Eli Manning's quarterback backup at the University of Mississippi for 3 years. Never took a snap. Rolled out to second. Gonzalez over to Pena. And after the leadoff homer, the opposite field shot to left with the fans throwing it back by Coco Crisp. It's 1-0 A's.
on top 1-0. The red-hot Rockets set Rip City ablaze last night. Tonight they wind down their road trip with a battle royale in Denver. Rockets and Nuggets. Coverage starts at 8:30 p.m. on Comcast Sportsnet 2. For channel information, log on to csnhouston.com.
Back-to-backers for them, Blummer.
Yeah, it's tough to do this late in the season for the NBA guys.
You know it. Ronnie Cedeno is looking back at the home plate umpire after strike one. He shortened up on the bat. He's going to walk this one off after the Tim Welke call. Not real happy. Struck out looking in the first inning against Cologne. The only hit he's allowed, an infield hit by J.D. Martinez. You can see that breeze coming through the stadium. Cologne checking his footing after that pitch went high.
I think that breeze blew him off balance. if that's possible.
Well, he's pretty sturdy, isn't he?
It's a brisk breeze.
Those big legs. In for a strike, and it's 1-2. Just kind of wondering about this 50-game suspension. He's just back from that. And there you see that breeze, and it's a strong one out there. Coming in the direction of the left field foul pole. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Cologne's 39 years old. It just seems to me that some players, when they get to that age, if they think, hey, this is really close to the end of my career, are willing to risk taking some substances because it's worth it for them financially. Even if they get caught.
I mean, but can you put a price on your own integrity?
No. That's a good point. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I was thinking about some of the guys that have been caught, minor leaguers and otherwise. A lot of them younger players.
Somebody got caught today.
Minor leaguer?
No, major leaguer. Going to have to look that up. Little tap goes foul.
And it's crazy with the testing policies that keep getting developed and the way they're evolving. I mean, we're almost to Olympic testing in the major leagues, and guys continue to think that they can trick the system.
Exactly. Well, the testing is working. That's obvious by the number of people who have been caught.
Well, I wonder, is it working to the extent that it's leaving everybody feeling like I can't take a chance?
Hot grounded to shortstop, but Lowry's right there. And the stretch by Moss, 1 out.
As we see guys continue to get caught, it makes me wonder how many guys are somehow sliding through.
True.
It's true. I mean, much like the testing evolves, so does the science behind actually taking some of that stuff.
Daniel McCutcheon, Orioles pitcher, suspended for 50 games. Oh, that was that was a minor league drug test, not a major leaguer. Didn't realize he was in the minors this year. Carter is the batter now. Chris popped to second earlier. And it's strike 1 to him.
But Ash, getting back, guys are still, taking the chance. So I wonder if the penalties in the future will be a little more extreme than they are right now.
Well, I know there was some talk about that, how some people would like to see this 50-game and 100-game type suspensions done away with, and if you get caught, you're done.
Yeah, I think a couple of players have spoken out about that.
I think as long as you have guys continue to get caught, they get hit for 50 games and then do it again for 100 games, I don't think it's sending the full message to the players. Don't do this.
Well, and Browning brought up the financial situation. You look at a guy like Melky Cabrera, he may have taken himself out of a running for one of these big long-term contracts that they've been handing out recently, but at the same time, he got a reasonable contract with Toronto.
Got a big one.
Yep. Hit hard. Lowry can't pick it up. Now he does, and still is able to get Carter. 2 outs. Lowry didn't panic, and Carter is not fast, so he did have time to recover.
Ball was well struck. It's good to see Chris Carter get into a 2-strike count like that and mash the ball towards short. Hit it hard enough to eat up a pretty good shortstop in Jed Lowry.
Pretty hittable pitch right there, left up, and after watching this club slam the home run ball so consistently in the spring, I'm waiting to see that start to become a part of the game here.
And hopefully when it does, it gets contagious and guys go with it.
Start having fun in the dugout, and that tends to bring on good swings.
Pena hit a fly ball to left earlier. He looks at ball one. He has 30 career at bats against Cologne coming into this game. That's the newcomer Travis Blackley next to Lucas Harrell there. In tight, and it's 2 balls, no strikes. Cologne has had really good control in his career. In spring training, he walked 1 in 20 innings. For his career, 773 walks in 2,393 innings. Two balls, 1 strike with the infield shifted around.
Jeff, you were talking about the fastballs from Cologne being 2 seamers. That's where the pitcher's trying to get the ball to sink, to run, to move a bit. It's surprising when a guy with a 2-seamer can elevate and throw it over the bat of a hitter.
It is pretty impressive. Tough to explain.
Yeah.
But you having been the physics major and
it's been
explained
years
to us
though.
about spin backs.
It has been years.
I was hoping for a little more expertise. Yeah, but sometimes, you know, Bartolo does a good job, and a lot of sinker ballers do get on top of that ball and actually be able to run that thing away from left-handed hitters. But sometimes they get elbow maybe a little bit underneath that hand and throw it in a more of an upward direction right there. But we've seen Carlos Pena a little susceptible to that high heater up.
No
almost
question.
wonder if he's trying to do it on purpose.
That's rocked on a line into right field. Over the shift. For a well hit 2-out single. Hit number 2 for the Astros tonight.
There's a bat the Astros could stand to see get hot.
And back-to-back rockets right there. And like you saw that ball down in the zone, Carlos does a good job of hitting a ball right through the shift.
Yeah, if you pitch him consistently down there with that 90-ish kind of fastball, you're going to pay for it.
Which is pretty standard for a left-handed hitter, but in Carlos's case, he really likes that ball down so he can drive that thing.
Maxwell popped to short first time up. Justin looks at ball one. Jason Castro on deck. Will Porter hoping this is the inning his club breaks out after the Astros struck out 56 times in the first 4 games, and no team in history has ever had 4 consecutive 13 strikeout games until the Astros this year. That's a hit through the left side. Back-to-back singles. Maxwell chimes in. Pena to second, and it's Castro next.
This is good to see. After giving up that home run in the top of the inning to Coco Crisp, it'd be good to see the Astros battle back right here and answer with a run of their own.
Yeah, you'd figure at some point if you can start making a little more contact than the club has made in the first 4 games, you're going to find some holes.
And you've actually got a guy at the plate that you would want in this situation to be up right now after the spring he had and showing that he's 100% healthy and driving the ball really well. This would be a good opportunity to really build some confidence for the Astros and himself.
Castro hit the bouncer to second on a 2-0 count, his first time up. J.D. Martinez on deck. Turn towards second. Back in '99, Cologne beat the Astros here at Houston 8-1 in the Astrodome. And the only run he gave up was on a 100-mile-per-hour fastball. Jeff Bagwell homered. Oh, Castro fouls it, strike 1.
Well, you talk about that spring for Castro, 6 dingers in just 43 official at bats. So he was swinging the long ball stick.
And just right there, he just threw his stick. It's always an uncomfortable and awkward feeling when.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was always glad to see guys do it at the ballpark and not in those swings they're practicing at home.
That would be a costly mistake.
Yes.
In tight, and Castro takes a look at it. 1-1.
That's where that two-seamer gets tough, is when he throws it inside to a left-handed hitter and brings it back over that inner half, a la Greg Maddux, who perfected that pitch.
Foul back.
The thing about Maddux and Glavine and company is they didn't necessarily have to get it all the way back to the corner. In those days, they had the expando corners working pretty well.
Yeah, that was a unique strike zone to hit against when you were wearing a Montreal Expo uniform.
I'm not sure they made bats long enough to deal with some of those strikes.
Felt like you had to step onto the plate to get some of those outside corners.
Out to left field. And this is going to go over the left fielder, Cespedes, and that is a 3-run homer for Jason Castro. Castro connects on the 1-2 pitch. He does what Coco Crisp did. Another left-handed hitter taking it out to left field for a 3-1 Houston lead.
And I think we'll see, as we get a chance to see this swing again, that home run comes when he wasn't thinking about trying to drive one. He just kind of has to deal with a pitch away, gets it in the air, and takes advantage of that wind in the short porch.
It's a spark we needed. It's good to see Castro not give in on that AB right there. Pitch out, up, over the plate. Nice and short to it, long through it. Smoked it into the Crawford boxes.
And all this work in the inning with 2 outs.
6 homers last season. He hit 6 in spring training this year, and now the first one that counts in 2013. J.D. Martinez with the infield hit earlier. 1-1. So the Astros get their second long ball of the young season, and it comes with 2 outs and 2 strikes in the end.
He's kind of reaching out. That's not your classic home run swing.
Now a hit to left center by J.D. hustling out of the box. And he's on with the 4th consecutive Houston hit.
Bartolo laboring a little bit right here, leaving some balls in the strike zone. Norris out to have a little chat with them, but this is good to see. 2 outs, like Ash was saying. I mean, 2 out hits, that's what keeps you alive.
Yeah, it was very innocent at the start. Cedeno grounded out. Carter grounded out. Carter hit his ball with some thump to shortstop, and then with 2 outs, Pena singled, Maxwell singled, 3-run homer Castro, and now Martinez singled.
Astros playing that American League ball, sitting back, waiting for that 3-run bomb.
Yeah. Earl Weaver baseball.
There you go.
Matt Dominguez grounded into a force play first time up. 5 hits total for Houston. Dominguez drives it to right center field. Coco Crisp watching Reddick make the catch. And the Astros get 3 on 4 hits. Castro hits it to left field for a 3-1 Houston lead. with a solo shot, and then a 3-run homer came from Castro.
Jason Castro, we'll get that view from center field. Just watch him just kind of reach out, just kind of trying to get the barrel to a ball. Not the kind of swing where you're spinning and trying to yank it, but taking advantage of a wind blowing to left, a shallow porch in left field. That's just good hitting, and when you put up good hitting, you're going to take advantage a number of times.
Yeah, you can kind of see with the way he finished there, kind of holding the bat up in the air. He might have shocked himself a little bit, too.
Well, we've seen Lance Berkman do that a lot here, as those folks had a great view of it, looking down on the Castro homer. Left-handed hitter can really make some hay in this ballpark by hitting the ball to left and left center. And Castro was a gap hitter in spring training this year. Bud Norris now has the lead as he goes to the 5th inning with Moss, Donaldson, and Norris due up. Strike one to Moss. He hit a fly ball to left in the 2nd.
People talk about Fenway Park all the time about what a great right-hand hitter's park it is, but for years left-handers have taken so much advantage there. When you just hit one in the air the other way, you've got a chance.
Real similar to Boston, you know, where that, I mean, it's not a huge wall. It doesn't extend as far as the Green Monster, but it definitely brings it into play and allows left-handed hitters to stay on balls like that and drive them that way and use it.
1-2. It's very friendly there, 315 feet down the line.
Great for the fans. I mean, you're in play right there.
It's a very popular seating area of the ballpark. Broken bat up the right field line over Pena. And here's the big turn, but the throw comes back into Marwin Gonzalez from J.D. Martinez. It's a single by Moss.
This is that shutdown inning that everybody talks about. After your team scores, it takes the lead. Got a leadoff hit here and see it. Hopefully Bud work out of this thing right here.
On that replay, you could see that ball hit near the end of the bat. Didn't sound that great.
Yeah, that was more typically the type of swing you're going to get when you see the home run. Out in front, barrel kind of leading a bit. But as you say, Moss hit the ball right off the end of the stick.
Now fouled away by Donaldson.
That's the bat give way. Yeah, way out in front. That's extending more than you would like to, but that bat just doesn't have a chance.
Broken bat hit.
At the same time, some of that extension allows the bat to stay through the zone a little bit longer and allow him to whip that thing into right field.
Norris missing, goes to a 1-1 count.
Yeah, I think it's that power game that the Astros again showed so much in the spring that needs to come to the forefront for this club to start putting some pressure on other teams. You can't just come after a team that's slamming the ball.
I drive Maxwell backing on it to the warning track. And he hauls that one in. Looks like the wind pushed it further than it might have gone. 1 out.
I would imagine both starting pitchers would not be opposed to seeing the roof get closed here on this evening.
Not at all. What a difference this park is. With the roof closed, it'll be open again tomorrow. One down, and it's Norris now the catcher against Bud Norris. Chris Davis is drawing a lot of attention for what the Baltimore slugger has done with 4 homers and 16 runs batted in already. Homered in each of Baltimore's first 4 games. He singled in a run in his second at bat tonight against Twins right-hander Vance Worley. That's his 17th RBI of the year now.
Hope he's sleeping okay these days.
Wow.
You don't want to stand too close to him. He might get burned. Means he's on fire, Ash.
17 ribbies this early on. Grief.
Maybe a good first half.
A lot of guys that'll stay with a big league club the entire season won't get to 17.
Really impressing Buck up there, isn't he?
You know it. He had a big year last year too. 2 balls, no strikes.
Yeah, the one thing he's been showing again that he can do is reach out and hit some balls at the outside part of the plate and still drive it out of the yard.
2-0 to Derek Norris.
I wonder if Chuck is watching this at bat real close.
Chuck Norris.
Should be. 2-1.
Beardless.
Minnesota leads Baltimore 5-3 after 3 at Baltimore. That's into center field for a hit. Derek Norris connects. First and second, one out for Sogard now.
Come get a behind-the-scenes look at Minute Maid Park. Learn all about the ballpark by visiting areas like historic Union Station, the broadcast booth, luxury suites, the Diamond Club, and a whole lot more. For more information, visit astros.com/tours or call 713-259-TOUR to schedule your tour today.
2 on now for the number 9 hitter Sogard, who flied to left in the third inning. Kansas City leads the Phillies 2-0. They're in the middle of the fifth at Philadelphia. And the first ball ceremonies went to 2 of the great third basemen of all time before last night's opener of that series. George Brett of the Royals, Mike Schmidt of the Phillies. They were matched in the 1980 World Series. You should have been in that series, Ash.
Would have loved to. Never got that chance. I remember hearing Nolan Ryan talk about that. He got to the big leagues with the Mets and wound up in the World Series, I believe his first year in the major leagues.
69,
and
yeah.
He thought to himself, boy, this is easy. I'll get to the World Series a number of times in my career. And it never happened again some, 25 years later?
Yeah. That's a good pitch over the inside corner.
So you don't take it for granted when you get that opportunity.
No.
Buster Posey's had a pretty good run in his first 3-4 years.
Well, and when you're that kind of a player, I guess you're going to provide yourself the opportunity to get there more often than most guys will ever see.
He is pretty good.
Babyface guy, and yet you put that bat in his hand or anything he does on the field, and very special.
Baby-faced assassin. 1-2. Shelby Miller won for the Cardinals at San Francisco today, 6-3, ruining the day for Buster Posey and friends. Hunter Pence hit his second, as did Pablo Sandoval. Shelby Miller, one of the top prospects among the pitchers in the big leagues, just coming to the majors. He was up a little bit last year. 2 balls, 2 strikes. They went 11 innings in Cincinnati. Washington won it over the Reds 7-6. Bryce Harper hit his third. Now they converge. Bud Norris there. 85 pitches for Bud. Bud went 5 2/3 opening night. Now one factor in Dallas Keuchel joining the Astros tonight, as Cole Porter mentioned with the media before the game, was the appearances last night of 5 relievers in the game. And some of these guys, well, for instance, Reiner Cruz threw 38 pitches, so he may not be available. Not sure about that. Rock him out looking. Number 4.
Throwing the old trick him fastball right down the middle. Wasn't looking for that one.
Yeah, that's hard to explain. You got the catcher setting up off the outside corner. A pitch comes right through the heart of the plate, and it gets taken.
Bud keeps looking down at his hand.
Now, I often wonder sometimes, Bud did have the blister issues, but it seems a little more, these balls get rubbed up a certain way every day, and usually at home it's to your favor because you can have some control over that. Usually a bullpen catcher or somebody out there rubbing those things up. It almost seems like the grip on the ball for him isn't what he wants it to be.
Coco Crisp homered last time up. He's 1 for 2. Shoots this one foul for strike 1.
Where did it first start that baseballs, which are just beautiful pearls when you take them out of the box. Had to be rubbed up for a baseball game.
Guarantee was a pitcher.
Using, what do they call it, Mississippi mud?
Yeah.
I mean, it just sounds like something you should put on a brand new pearl, doesn't it?
There supposedly is a, well, you know, you might have seen footage of it back in Delaware, in a particular spot of the river there where they get this mud. It's a crack bat fly ball foul. So it's just a special place where the mud is just perfect for this one purpose.
Local Crisp has been kind of good here in this series early on. That was the leadoff home run, and had a big night before it was all said and done. A couple of doubles mixed in. He was clearly the man of the night for the A's. Tonight, no change. Just goes the other direction. That was the first run of the ball game.
Yeah, he hasn't missed too many pitches this entire series.
0-2 now.
But I go back, I always wonder when a kid gets a foul ball in the stands and he looks at that foul ball in Major League Baseball, and it's dirtier than anything he's used playing Little League.
Yeah. 1-2.
Really is amazing.
But it does make a huge difference. You pick up a pearl in batting practice more often than not. I mean, they get a little squirrely sometimes if you don't grab them right on the seams.
They do. If you throw that two-seamer and give it a chance, it'll do some beautiful stuff for you.
'89 pitches for Bud.
There's some guys out there that will take it to another level to increase spin, rotation,
you're talking
and grip.
about creating their own dynamics with the baseball?
Sometimes, yes.
Well,
heard John Crook talking to Oral Hershiser about getting out against him any number of times. He said, because I hit the wrong side of the ball.
The wet side?
Yes. I believe that's what he was alluding to.
Yeah, well.
I don't know how true that was about Oral. I mean, I'd hate to cast that onto him, but Crookie threw it out there.
You wouldn't be the first one to mention it.
That's true.
On the ground, and there's Gonzalez over to Pena. Out of trouble, Bud Norris in the 5th inning with no runs, 2 hits, 2 men stranded, 3-1 Astros. Three to 1, the Astros lead it. Bud Norris has thrown 91 pitches. He's having some fun with the guys in the dugout. And the Astros come up now in the home 5th inning with the number 9 hitter, Marwin Gonzalez, leading it off. He popped to second in the 3rd inning. That's strike 1. Bartolo Colon got 2 quick outs in the 4th. Then he gave up 4 consecutive hits, including a Jason Castro opposite field 3-run homer. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
Ooh.
1-2.
Sorry. Hitter reaction right there. I was a little shocked that was a strike too. A little bit off the outside corner right there.
Any chance you're going to start arguing with the umpire soon?
That would be impressive from up here, wouldn't it?
Oh, yes. Chop to the right side, and Moss is there. 1 out for Colon in his return to the rotation. A very youthful rotation, except for him, with an average age of 25 before he became part of the mix tonight.
They are the youngest rotation in all of Major League Baseball, the pitching staff overall.
It was amazing that at the end of the season last year, they had 5 rookie starting pitchers and still were able to close that gap and overtake the Rangers for the division title.
That is impressive. Took advantage of that lack of knowledge facing some of those guys, but you know, on both ends, I'm sure some of the hitters are like, who are these guys? And then they're getting their doors blown off. You get to remember them real quick.
Altuve is 0 for 2. He looks at strike 1. The A's are the youngest team as of opening day, an average of 28 years old in the American League. Lowry from the grass and safe at first. Altuve beats the 1-hop throw from Lowry.
That's just a kid that has some talent and a lot of heart getting down the line to beat this play. Somehow gets the barrel on this pitch that's down and away, and I think Lowry thought he got him.
Maybe. Pretty close.
Very close play.
You got to give all the credit to Altuve, though, for.
He got him.
Yeah, he did get him.
Yep.
Lowry thought out. Mike Everett said safe. Altuve has a 5-game hitting streak. And it's Ronnie Cedeno. Altuve drawing some attention with 1 out. He has not attempted to steal yet this season after stealing 33 bases last year.
Yeah, I looked at the numbers before the game, and we have not attempted 1 stolen base yet.
It's been a little difficult with all the strikeouts, very few base runners, 194 team average. Now this one gets away.
That was a nice play by Mike Everett, I think, down there at first base, knocking that ball down and keeping it from getting by.
Pitchers will try to do too much on this play a lot of times. I think ultimately the helmet of Altuve might have kept this ball right around the bag.
Oh, a little right in the booty.
Yeah.
Booty is a big part of it, but yeah.
Got him on the backside and Mike Everett on the thigh. A carom shot by Colon. Third baseman Donaldson even with the bag for Cedeno. Runner going. Colon doesn't have a play at second. Takes the out at first. 2 outs. Altuve into scoring position.
Like an early hit and run call there by Bo Porter, getting some movement, move the infielders around a little bit. Not a bad call with Bartolo throwing as many strikes as he has today, so just wasn't a good enough pitch. Didn't do a good job of getting the barrel on it.
See how quick Colon is in delivering the pitch. He makes that running game difficult with that quick delivery.
One of the things I learned over the years, and I've hit 2-hole, I actually hit 2-hole quite a bit here with the Astros, and I can't remember who advised it to me, but in hit and run situations, it was always recommended to take your normal swing. You know, don't try and bury the ball on the ground like we saw Ronnie Cedeno right there. It looked like he really tried to chop on it. But sometimes, you know, he doesn't take a normal swing like it looked like right there. But, you know, just take a good, strong downward swing. You still want to hit the ball firmly.
I played under Frank Robinson when he was the manager in Cleveland, and he had a different theory. A lot of guys would kind of give up their at-bat. Right-hand hitters, for example, trying to just fling one to the other side and hit little weak fly balls and foul pitches off. Robbie said, don't try to direct the baseball other than to hit it as hard as you can on the ground. Just get on top of it, eliminate the ball that can create a double play, and with that man in motion, take advantage. You'll find some holes.
think that's a better way of explaining it, yeah.
1-2 to Carter.
Yeah, he hated watching guys in batting practice in that hit and run round, just kind of winging it and trying to flip it the other way.
But I think you said it appropriately. You know, you don't want to give up the at bat. You're still a hitter. You're still trying to make something happen, but you want to do it with some kind of authority.
69 pitches for Cologne compared to 91 for Norris. He gets a strikeout to end the 5th inning. And that's number 2 of the game for him. No runs, a hit, and a man left after 5, 3-1 Astros.
On Comcast Sportsnet. Welcome back. Bud Norris heads back out to the mound with a 3-1 lead thanks to Jason Castro's home run in the 4th inning. After that home run, the dugout erupted. I had a good chance to see these guys. A little bit of a relief there, and after they high-fived Castro, they went straight over to Bud Norris, high-fiving him as to say, hey, no pressure, just do your thing, and got out of a jam last inning. So he seems to be calmly going through, and we'll see how far this takes him.
And he enters inning number 6 right now with the 3-1 lead. Lowry, Reddick, and Cespedes due up against Norris. He's facing Lowry, who's 1 for 2. He's been looking down at his hand during the game tonight. Gave up a single to Moss leading off the 5th inning, and then 1 out later, another hit by Norris, but then he got Sogard and Crisp. And it's strike 1 in the corner. Chance for a 2-0 start this season for Bud Norris. His next start will be against the Mighty Angels. It's a drive to right field. J.D. Martinez out of room. That's a home run. And Lowry hits number 2 of the season. He has erupted with a flurry of extra base hits here to open the year. Now it's 2 homers and 4 runs batted in for Lowry. 3-2 Houston.
I think Bud Norris thought he had delivered a good pitch, a breaking ball maybe down under the knees. Sometimes good pitches get hit hard.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the sequence was in that at bat. I know it was first pitch heater, then breaking ball. And last AB, I'm pretty sure that Jed Lowry got a base hit on that same slider down in the zone. I'm not sure if it was the exact same sequence between both at bats, but this time Jed Lowry got underneath that breaking ball and drove it out of the ballpark.
Lowry's 2 for 3, and it's a 1-run lead. A pair of Oakland solo homers. There's Reddick taking strike 1.
Hey, you see that probably down around the knees. And I saw Bud Norris look back toward Jason Castro as the ball went out, as if to say, was that a bad pitch? And I would say no, it was a good one.
Maybe caught a little bit more of the plate than he had hoped, but as like you said, it was down in the zone.
Cedeno drops it, recovers, fires, safe at first. Cedeno was positioned right there and failed to come up with a play, throwing his first error of the season.
Yeah, sat back and let that ball play him a little bit. Pretty sure he acknowledges that, but sometimes as an infielder you get stuck on your heels a little bit, and sometimes that ball will come up and eat you alive.
It's been the shortstops here in this series that have been seemingly struggling a little bit on what quite honestly have been a couple of very sharply hit balls in that direction. This one much more routine.
Yeah, you can see when the infielder gets his hands back by his belly a little bit and can't watch that ball go into his glove. So when things are going good, the shortstop or any of the infielders will have their hands out in front of them so they're able to see the ball go in their glove.
Now the cleanup man, Cespedes, 0 for 2, 2 punch outs. There's strike one to him.
Not hit that hard.
No, very routine. In fact, not even a tough hop scenario there at the end.
Yeah, but sometimes that you could see at our angle up here that the ball was hit directly at him, and sometimes that puts the fielder in an awkward position, not being able to create that angle and see that good hop and make a play on it.
Reddick is 2 for 2 in stolen bases. Wesley Wright is up in the Astros bullpen now. 97 pitches for Norris. It's 1-1. So home run and error to open the inning, and Norris with the 3-2 lead tries to get Cespedes with Smith on deck.
And you can see right here from this angle too, after Cespedes yesterday hit that bullet to Marwin, playing a little bit deeper with that double play depth than you would normally. Maybe to make up for the ball being hit so hard, you got a little bit more time to see the ball and make the play.
It's a good point, Jeff. That is a deep double play positioning right now. 1-2.
You know, and sometimes if anything else, you're able to lay out because you've got a little bit more range from back there and make a play either at first or at second to at least get one out. But that's what these guys are doing. You know, you see some of these plays happen to these guys where they don't go exactly the way they wanted, but they're making the adjustment. They're recognizing what's happening, and they're able the next game to go out there and make the adjustment and hopefully have a better chance at making that play.
2-2 for Norris. He's reached the century figure in pitch count. But you're up in Northern California. Astros will be in Oakland in another few days, giving his family just a short trip to see him. He lays off, and it's ball 3, 3-2.
Well, you would think the A's have a runner in motion on this pitch. One of those great opportunities if Bud Norris feels like he can come with that slider once again and maybe induce a swing, get that strike him out, throw him out opportunity.
Yeah, this situation right here is going to put Marwin in an interesting spot. If he does go, he's got to be able to read the ball and make a play at second base if the runner does go.
So in that case for Marwin, does he hold his position as long as possible and then kind of get there by first of all trying not to give up his position?
I always try to make my first move with not going right there, which is a good thing for Marwin. But if I saw the runner going, I would always try and I would run not run, but I would take a couple steps straight ahead, try and read where the ball was hit, and then make a quick break towards the bag. I wouldn't just go directly to the bag.
So you don't give up your angle at all.
Yes.
You just shorten up a bit.
Yes.
Flared foul. Pena comes over. That's one big out for Bud. MLB.TV is celebrating 11 years. Join the millions of fans and subscribers today. Watch every out-of-market game live online on your favorite mobile and connected devices in HD quality with MLB.TV Premium. Visit MLB.TV. Baseball everywhere. One out now on the foul pop, and it's Seth Smith, who is lined to second and grounded to second.
But Bob Melvin must feel that Cespedes might have that inclination to strike out, because with 2 pitches there on 3-2 counts, we didn't see any movement at first.
Right. We kept looking at first base, but Reddick wasn't going. There's ball 1.
There's that changeup we were seeing a bit more early in the ballgame. Haven't seen much lately.
The A's were 6th in stolen bases in the American League last year, but their percentage was great, 79%. That time Reddick was going back toward the bag. 2 balls, no strikes.
Yeah, it was interesting. You know, I agree with you, Ash. I thought that would have been a good time to send Reddick with Cespedes up. But Bo Mel is their manager and probably has a better idea of what's going on. But Bud Norris hasn't really shortened up his windup at all either. Opening up the opportunity to maybe think about running a little bit. But maybe he was also trying to keep Reddick there in case Cespedes did get out. Open up the hole for Seth Smith. Brandon Moss, another left-handed hitter, coming up next.
Eduardo Perez, the bench coach, is watching the running game of the opposing team, calling some slide steps from time to time to try to combat that running game. That's it for a strike.
You know, it's a funny thing. We bring up the stolen base game, and there's always the perception that that can be such a contributor to a successful season. And yet you look at 2012, and the top 8 teams in stolen bases did not make the postseason.
How about that?
Milwaukee Brewers, San Diego Padres, Miami, Minnesota, all the top 4 spots.
Carter over toward the line on this slicing fly ball, and he handles it. 2 outs. That is interesting. The game has evolved into such a home run oriented game.
Bottom 2 spots in stolen bases around 30 major league teams, Baltimore and Detroit.
Interesting. 2 playoff teams, 2 very good teams.
Yeah, I was going to say very good teams on top of that.
Moss hit a fly ball to left and single to right field. Yeah, there's so much home run power in the game right now that managers tend to wait back and hope for that home run to happen, rather than getting base runners thrown out trying to steal.
But you know what we'll continue to hear every spring training from 30 major league camps? We're going to run more.
Yes.
We're going to be more aggressive.
Without fail.
It's amazing when you break camp and you turn the lights on and all the cameras are around.
Things tend to change.
Things change a little bit, yeah.
Strike to Moss.
A lot of managers probably don't want to risk running to get those outs on the base paths. They'd rather have the outs coming with guys taking big hacks at home plate.
According to the latest story by Jane Lee at MLB.com, Moss's wife remains in labor back in the Bay Area. Took his wife home from the hospital Friday evening and came to Houston.
Said, now stay put.
Hold your ground.
He was listed on the lineup card as an extra man last night, but that doesn't mean he has to physically be in the ballpark. But the A's had Shane Peterson here in case Moss was placed on paternity leave. In case she had had the baby, he could have been placed on that leave, and Peterson could have been added to the team.
The way modern medicine is these days, they can pretty much time those things.
Yeah. Two balls and a strike. I remember one year Ken Caminetti's wife had a baby, and the Astros were in Montreal, and Art Howe was the manager, and he said, no, don't worry about trying to come back here from Houston. Just spend the whole 3 days down there with your wife and child. And the Astros, I believe, lost all 3 games of that series. And every one you would have said Caminetti could have made the difference in this game if he had played.
Of course.
Bouncer foul. Of course, who will ever know? But that's, he was an important player in the scheme of things.
What a great player he turned out to be. And
yeah.
I think a very honest guy when he got to talking about some of the ailments of the game. And I just think that Cam knew no other way other than to speak as honestly as he could.
Well, that Sports Illustrated article, he was so candid about the use of steroids that it helped affect change in the game.
I think so.
When players like Ken spoke out. It's 3-2.
And he did it for the pure meaning of being honest. He didn't do it for any lucrative interest like one of the Bash brothers did. He wasn't out for a vendetta to get anybody back or call anybody out. He just brought it to light and was honest about the questions that were asked of him.
Exactly. Now, running count here, 3-2, 2 outs. Pena drops back behind Reddick at first. And it's foul back. Well, the pitch count now up to 113 for Norris. Wesley Wright has been working in the bullpen.
Yeah, Bo Porter's giving him a bit of a leash right here, wanting him to get through those 6 innings and get him that quality start, but also give a break to that bullpen and allow them to finish off possibly those last 3 innings.
The runner goes, another foul ball. Now, Bo said he was not going to manage strictly by pitch count this season. He was just going to go by his evaluation of how the pitcher was throwing.
It's a good move. I think it develops trust between the pitcher and the manager. Sometimes, I'm sure if you ask Bud right now, he's like, I want to finish this inning. He knows what it means to get a quality start. So in order to develop that rapport and that trust, Bo's letting him go get it. We hope.
Now walk, yeah, now. How much longer does he go? With Donaldson coming up, Donaldson's 0 for 2. And that might be it because he has reached 115 pitches. And maybe he's going to ask.
That might be a good opportunity to talk to him and see how he feels having the right-handed hitter up there, as opposed to Wesley Wright having to come in and go left on right, which is not a typical matchup situation he is used to. That a boy gave him a good smack and said, let's do this.
Yeah, I like this a lot. I have never seen any evidence. I don't know, maybe it's out there, but I haven't seen it, that cutting pitchers pitches down and holding it 2 or under 100 does anything to preserve that arm. They continue to, those who are going to have surgery wind up needing surgery, and some other guys survive, and I'm not sure there's an answer as to why on either side.
Definitely one of the mysteries of pitching and medicine and things like that. Because you would think that the more repetition you get doing something would build up that arm strength, but how do you create that and build that confidence in the pitcher to know that he can go past 115 pitches?
Well, I think some of the pitchers of the past, and we're talking decades back, would tell you that they believe exactly what you just said, that chance to pitch deeper into games made their arms healthier.
Josh Donaldson, runners at first and second, is 0 for 2. Here's a play at third. They don't make a play on him, and it's an easy steal by Reddick. He just took off and stole third standing up without a throw.
That was completely forgetting about a man at second base, not only by Norris, but by the middle infielders. Just allow that extended lead and an early jump and see ya.
Yeah, you can see it by that replay. There was nobody in that picture. And usually with 2 outs, middle infielders are going to have a tendency to lean back a little bit, but Josh Reddick can run a little bit, so you got to kind of keep that in the back of your mind. But I'm sure that the middle infield was told to stay back and protect against the base hit as opposed to cutting down on their angle.
Josh Donaldson, the hitter, did a great job just taking a strike.
Now 0-1. Porter might have told Bud, hey, this is your last batter, just focus on him. 1-1.
You're a runner at second base and nobody's near you, and the pitcher just seems to have forgotten that you're there. Take the early jump. There's no reason for Castro to throw.
Yeah, you can see that he took a peek and realized nobody was watching him. But at the same time, Brandon Moss at first base did us actually a favor by not trailing on that run on that steal right there, allowing us to still have a force out at second base.
Very good point. In for a strike, 1-2.
I think sometimes as a runner at first base and you see the guy, in this case, not dancing, just taking an early jump, sometimes you can get sucked into one that you don't want to be when it's all said and done, because the guy might stop on you.
Big situation here in a one-run game. Time is called. You know, guys, it doesn't particularly bother me, that steal of third in this situation. 2 outs.
I think a lot of people might agree with you there. It opens up the opportunities on a ball that gets by the catcher. That's really about it in this scenario.
Fouled away.
You could also say that an infield single scenario scores a run where it wouldn't otherwise.
Definitely increases the opportunities to score when you're only 90 feet away. But like you said, with 2 outs, it's going to take something clean to drive him home, or a mistake.
Now, if he just maintains his focus on the hitter, he still has a 1-run lead.
That is the key.
2-2.
It's a good spot for Bud to show his maturity a little bit too.
Sure is.
Able to handle the situation. I know in the years past, maybe when he first got called up, was a little excitable. May have tried to rush things a little bit right here, but you can see him taking the ball back, relaxing, regrouping himself, getting a nice deep breath, and make a pitch.
3-2 now.
Well, the skip's giving you a chance to get out of this inning, but this is going to be it in terms of hitters.
No doubt.
Up to 121.
Well, don't kid yourself. He realizes he's gassed. He knows exactly how many pitches he's thrown, and his arm is telling him right now. But if he can reach down somewhere inside there and make this pitch right here, he's going to be pretty pleased with himself.
Working on an extra day of rest. It's a cool night. Into right field. That ties it 3-3 on the RBI single by Donaldson.
That's too bad right there.
I think it was a deserved risk to keep Norris out there. That was really good hitting by Donaldson on a slider on the outside part of the plate.
I agree. Bud had to make his pitch right there. He did, and Donaldson did a good job of just reaching out and shooting it through that hole. But again, Brandon Moss not trailing on that, what could have been a double steal, keeps the winning run from coming in.
Norris out of the game. It's tied 3-3. Moss went first to third on the hit by Donaldson. Wesley Wright coming in. Back in a moment. Runners and 2 outs. Wesley Wright warming up. We want to remind you to tune in to Chevy Hometown Kids every Saturday morning at 9:30 on CSN. Chevy Hometown Kids, where it's not about the score, but the experience. Well, the experience is these fans are watching a close game. Top of the 6th inning, Wesley Wright coming in, inheriting runners at the corners, and already he is in for the 4th time this season. He pitched last night, had a 1-2-3 inning through 10 pitches. And he'll be facing the right-hander, Derek Norris, left-handed hitting Sogard on deck. Norris single to center in the 5th inning. He's 1 for 2.
As you bring in that workhorse left-hander out of the bullpen, generally speaking, you'd like it to be against a left-hand hitter. But sometimes it doesn't work out. And as Wright was ready here in the inning, it just got to the point where somebody had to come in, and he was the man.
The experienced man who throws strike 1, because Reiner Cruz worked 38 pitches last night. Hector Ambrose threw 15. Jose Veras is the closer. And the only other right-hander in the bullpen is rookie Josh Fields. So it's a lefty on a righty. And it's a ball to make him 1-1. Bull Porter is not strapped to convention as far as wanting to use lefty relievers only against lefty hitters when they first come in a game. He looks at all the numbers. He considers the type of pitcher and the type of hitter he's facing. And he is not going to be tied to going left on left all the time.
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but sometimes the hitter may not have those great at-bats against left-handed pitchers also. That could come into play too.
Very good point. A little repair there for Jason Castro to his right shin guard. Bo pointed out over the winter that the Nationals had a situation last year. Tom Gorzolani, their lefty reliever, was on the mound, and Davey Johnson was going to remove him because Alfonso Soriano was coming up for the Cubs. And he asked Bo, and Bo said, well, I think if you left him in, he'd get Soriano, and he did.
Well, there you go.
Well, if you turn back to last year, right-hand hitters had a much better opportunity against Wright than did the lefties. Lefties hit just 198. Righties 269.
1-2. And, you know, those numbers are all processed, but with a relatively inexperienced bullpen right now, still kind of sorting itself out. I think Bo will be open to various possibilities, at least for a while, Ash.
Well, I think you set up your possibilities throughout the season by what you do early on. If you go out there and get this out, it sets it up where you can be relied upon more against right-hand hitters.
You bet.
I think that's an excellent point, Brownie. He may be going for the veteran experience here as opposed to the matchups.
Beaten into the ground, and it's still 1-2 on Norris. The analytical staffs of these major league teams just put out reams of information. And, there's a lot to study before a game.
Yeah, I had no idea. I know that being in those clubhouses, they're a little more selective. They go through a certain funnel before all the information they want us to have. I mean, it's more tendencies and things like that. But having been up here in the booth and seeing the number of emails and paperwork that's up here, there are an enormous amount of numbers going through this whole thing.
Flair to right center field. That will drop in for a hit, and the A's take the lead 4-3 on a looping RBI single by Norris. Well, after he had weakly grounded some fouls, he got one in the air to right center, and the A's are in front by 1.
Very unfortunate inning, and again back to Bud Norris. I thought it was a risk that was well worth the opportunity, the possibilities for Norris to try to get through the inning. But boy, this base hit really takes it over the top as you go into a tie, and now the A's take the lead here in the 6th inning.
First RBI for Norris this season, and the runner at first, Donaldson, went to third. And now left-handed hitting Sogard is 0 for 2.
Yeah, you can't really blame that on, you know, mistakes being made. That was just good hitting in this inning and situations right there that they took advantage of.
And both hitters going the other way. the 7 and 8 hitters to come up with big hits.
Sogard looks at ball one because of the error allowing Reddick to reach. Error on Ronnie Cedeno. Only the first run of the inning is earned, so 2 have been unearned after that. And big 2-strike, 2-out hit by Norris. That's what the Astros got with Castro's 3-run home in the 4th. 1 ball, 1 strike. The A's returned only 9 players from last year's opening day. The Astros, like the A's, have had a very big turnover themselves. It's 1-2 to Sogard. .110 is the start tomorrow for Lucas Harrell and Brett Anderson. He was the opening day starter for Oakland. Both Harrell and Anderson pitched well, but got losses in their first trips to the mound this year. We'll be on the air 12:30. Another looping fly ball that will dunk in for a hit, and it's 5-3 Oakland. Maxwell throwing into second. An RBI single again on a 1-2 count from Sogard. His first run batted in.
Well, these 2-strike pitches, the last couple hitters from Donaldson and Norris and Sogard, just catching too much of the play with 2 strikes. You could see he wanted to bury that thing down and away, just stayed up for him, and Sogard had enough bat on it to get it past Marwin Gonzalez and into the outfield for that RBI right there.
I got to hand it to the A's hitters. The 3 straight hits here. Not really easy pitches to deal with. They've done a fine job.
Donaldson, Norris, and Sogard. And now it's Coco Crisp, switch hitter batting right this time. He homered in the 4th inning. He's 1 for 3. Bud Norris went 5 2/3 innings. He allowed 6 hits and 5 runs, 2 of them earned. Walking 1, fanning 4.
Wesley Wright had a rough spring this year, allowing 10 earned runs in just 8 innings. And things haven't really turned around here once the bell is rung.
Gave up 2 runs in 2/3 of an inning to Texas in game 2 of the season. Keuchel warming up now. Dallas just joined the club tonight. And then Wesley had a hitless inning on April 3rd, that Wednesday game against the Rangers. Another hitless inning last night. But Oakland stinging him here tonight for the 5-3 lead in this 4-run 6th. And batting around, Crisp is the 9th Oakland batter. Lowry led it off with a homer.
Almost a repeat of what happened yesterday with that one big inning that proves to be the downfall for the Astros.
That's right. Mike Everett with the strike call. Keuchel, who just made his way to Houston from Memphis, where Oklahoma City is playing this weekend, is getting loose. At this point, it would appear the hope would be that he can come in here and stay in for a while. Day game coming tomorrow.
That would prove to be very beneficial. Have Wesley get us back in the dugout. Keuchel finish it out, score some more runs.
The Astros will have their 4, 5, 6 hitters due up in the bottom of the 6th inning.
And that would play into right what we talked about to open up the game, is that he's got the length in him right now to actually pull that off and go the last 3 innings.
Yes, he does. Back into the seats. Strike 2. No balls, 2 strikes to Coco Crisp.
Crisp upset at himself. I think he feels like he got a very good pitch to hit. Still kind of talking to himself internally, and Looks like he did have a good pitch to handle. He's kind of kicking himself over and over.
I think the replay confirmed that one.
Chris calls time. Last night in Game 1, Oklahoma City got thumped by Memphis 9-0. Jordan Lyles lost that one in Game 2 of the Twin Bill. Oklahoma City won at 8-7. Brandon Laird homered. Runner going from first, and it's a foul ball. The A's are 3 for 5 tonight with runners in scoring position.
This is a much tougher pitch, and got even tougher.
That'd be one of the single worst pains in all of baseball. Fouling a ball off your foot.
Gotta be.
Have you ever taken a hammer to your foot? It's kind of what it feels like.
That's a really good call.
Probably not a good idea if you're curious to find out exactly what that pain threshold that you might have would be if you did that.
Just try and reenact in the booth with Ash.
Runner going, and without a throw, he makes it.
Take a pretty good beating.
It seems like it would be a foolish thing to take that hammer to your own foot, but it's just as foolish down there to pound away on your foot.
Sogard gets his first steal.
Wright's a little bit deliberate with that leg kick. If you go on first move, very little chance to get him in.
Now another 1-2 count with 2 men in scoring position now, and those 1-2 counts have been death for Astros pitchers here in the inning. Rio Reese came up with a nice game for Quad Cities. One of the Astros' top prospects from last year's draft, a third baseman, had 2 hits, including a double. And the slider works for a strikeout on Chris, but the A's bat around. They score 4 times on 4 hits. They leave 2, and it's 5-3 Athletics in the 6th.
Reminder, if you're looking for the perfect way to combine business and baseball or a unique space to hold your next event, with state-of-the-art meeting spaces, Minute Maid Park can surpass all of your needs. Call 713-259-8800 for more information. Don't forget to ask about softball games and batting practice for that matter.
They're having a good time. 5-3, the Oakland A's delivered as they batted around at the top of the inning, a 4-run frame. Now the Astros try to answer against Bartolo Colon, with Pena, Maxwell, and Castro due up in the home 6th inning. Ball one. It's been a long time for Colon to be away from the mound, which might work either way for him. Pena singled and scored in the 4th inning. He started the 3-run rally with a 2-out single Sean Doolittle is getting loose. It's 1-1. Colon is from the Dominican Republic. Came up with the Indians in '97. Ripped the fastball by him in '93, and there is the lefty Doolittle. Colon's only thrown 73 pitches, as you can see there.
I think he really serves himself well, and his team, generally speaking, by the fact that he does get away with a lot of fastballs, throws a lot of strikes, and ball generally gets put in play.
Now back. Peña's a .221 career hitter against the Oakland A's, with 20 career long balls against Oakland. Two strikeouts through 5 innings for Colon tonight, so the Astros have done a much better job of making contact, and they put those 4 straight 2-out hits together in the 4th. It's 2-2.
Yeah, they're making us look good. We talked about that before the game. Bartolo being around the plate, a lot of fastballs, and the Astro hitters are having good at bats and following through with their game plan.
Infielders bunched on the right side for Peña. Peña grounds right into that shift. There's Moss tossing to Colon. 1 out. Just as we promised earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite with J-Max. Putting one in the air. That pops up for one of his 2 triples on opening night. He's driven in a couple of runs. He's tonight singled and scored and roamed center field from left center to right center so far in this homestand.
He's not one of the kids anymore. I believe, what, 29 years of age, but he looks young, and he's such a good-looking athlete. Love to see him really find this game. What a difference he could make.
He really could.
Yeah, he's an impressive athlete. He's really impressed me in center field, tracking down some of the balls in this big center field here at Minute Maid Park and making it look easy.
Maxwell takes ball 1. Well, when he hits homers, they're among the longest that people have seen. A towering shot in Colorado last year. He has enormous power. 1 ball, 1 strike. And he has this opportunity to play every day again this year. It's the best opportunity he's had in his career. And last year he demonstrated enough to be squarely in the Astros' plans for 2013. 2 balls and a strike. Sometimes it's just a guy's time, Jeff. This is his time. He has this opportunity to make the most of it.
I agree. That's all. Sometimes the grass is greener on the other side. He's got himself an opportunity here.
Out to left center field. That falls in for a hit. Cespedes gets it back in, and Maxwell's on. He's 2 for 3.
Yeah, just like we promised earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. This is the Castro home run, and a tough pitch away. He just goes with it, rides the wind, and drives it out to the porch in the Crawford boxes. And that was a big blow at the time. First home run on the year for Jason Castro. And the guys seem to come alive with that one.
And now Castro has a shot at doing it all over again. He grounded to second before that 3-run homer you saw. Double play depth by Lowry and Sogard. Shot into right field. Maxwell is second, and Castro's 2 for 3. Well, now we've seen a turnaround tonight on the part of a few of the Astros hitters. Better swings, better results, solid contact.
See, this is more of the power swing right there, resulting in a single than what we saw with the home run going the other way in the 4th inning. But you take them both. Maybe that hot bat from the spring is starting to get relit.
pitching coach Kurt Young is headed out. 81 pitches for Cologne. But it is his first start in a while. The A's had the second best bullpen ERA last year in the American League. And apparently they're not going to go to it right now.
When's the last time you saw a major league pitcher just standing on the mound flipping the ball up in the air like that?
Can't remember.
Yeah, that doesn't look overly concerned about the whole situation.
Nope. He does not. J.D. Martinez is 2 for 2. He got an infield hit off the third baseman's glove and then a single to left center. Matt Dominguez on deck with 1 out. Strike to J.D. getting the opportunity to start tonight, even though it is against a right-handed pitcher with Rick Ankiel on the bench. Cole Porter plans to use all of his players, and he's demonstrated that here on this first homestand. Sogard gets it to Lowry. Lowry flashing across for a double play to end the Astros 6th. No runs, 2 hits, and a man left. That's a big pitch for Cologne, and the A's lead it 5-3.
With the lead 5-3, and don't miss your chance to see the Astros take on some of the best teams in the American League, including the Red Sox, Yankees, Rangers, and more. Get your tickets now by calling 1-877-9-ASTROS or just visit Astros.com.
Lefty Dallas Keuchel, 25 years old, from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the University of Arkansas, just arrived tonight. And as of the start of batting practice, he was still on his way from Memphis after going 3-8 last season with the Astros with a 5.27 ERA. He made 16 starts last year for Houston, 16 more for Oklahoma City. Has an excellent changeup. And as he comes in now as a reliever, it'll be with a 5-3 score. Oakland leading, and the 7th inning in front of him. Lowry, Reddick, and Cespedes. He was one of the myriad of possibilities to be in this starting rotation when spring training opened. And it looks as if the Astros have a lot more depth at AAA this year than they did last year. They're tapping that depth early in the season.
And that piggyback situation introduces some of these guys who are normally starters into coming out of the bullpen, which is probably going to prove beneficial for Dallas today, having to come out of the bullpen late in the game.
He arrived because Travis Blackley went on the DL earlier. Jed Lowry takes ball 1. Lowry has a single and a homer in 3 trips. Keuchel had some very good starts for the Astros last year, looking for more consistency. That makes it 1-1. If he gets ahead, his changeup is a very good weapon.
Changeup is probably the equalizer for switch hitters. It's one of the few pitches that actually go away from a guy.
Diving play. Gonzalez over to first. Marwin Gonzalez. Ball was hit pretty well, and he stretched out to his left.
Made the play so nicely that when he popped up, still had a little bit of time. Ball hit sharply, and that aids in that endeavor.
Jed Lowry's hitting the ball hard today, no matter where it is or what side of the plate he's on.
Sure is. Stung that one. Josh Reddick's 0 for 3, reaching on an error. There's strike one. Errors have been very costly for the Astros in the first 2 games of this series.
Actually knocked the baseball down, did Marwin, and landed on it a bit with his chest, it looked like.
More routine here from Marwin. That's nice. He just had his feet set and went right into the throw without having to move those feet. 2 outs.
And good for him, too. You know, I'm sure he was a little upset at himself for not making that play yesterday at shortstop, but that short-term memory comes into effect, and he realizes he's a pretty good defensive ball player and made some good plays in the last 2.
Can an infielder go into a fielding slump?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You can. Yeah, it seems like when you're feeling that slump, that ball seems to find you a lot more often than you'd like it to.
Sometimes I think maybe more so than as a hitter. You can slump as a hitter. You're not flinching and such, but defensively you can actually start flinching when things go bad.
Yeah, the footwork gets a little hesitant. The hands aren't where you want it to, but it definitely finds you when you don't want to.
Cespedes is 0 for 3. 2 balls, no strikes. Keuchel's not a hard thrower, but if he can be pinpoint with his control, he can be very effective. In fact, at home last year, he had an excellent ERA, 2.95 in this ballpark for 10 starts.
You got kind of a soft tosser like this. It sure is a benefit if he can get ground balls.
Did a good job with that changeup that Brownie had been talking about right there. 2-0. Big power hitter out there taking a massive hack and pulled the string on him.
As we watch him this year, Jeff, let's watch for how often he comes inside.
Does he do that typically, or?
I didn't think he did it
enough.
Nearly enough last year. It sets up the change so well when he does it.
Some guys that don't throw hard are not overly confident about coming in.
Right.
Just happened right there. It's not a good sign for the Oakland Athletics if Cespedes has a little wrist issue. Maybe he dropped the bat at the end of that swing.
He had a problem last year physically, and I don't recall if it was something to do with one of his hands.
Well, he looks hurt.
There was something in that left hand.
Yep.
There you go, Brownie.
There it is. Struck him out looking. A good 7th inning with the help from that diving play by Gonzalez. 5-3 Athletics. comes to Minute Maid Park on this gorgeous night. Altuve and the Astros wind down this opening homestand tomorrow afternoon against the A's. It all starts with Astros pregame live tomorrow at 12:30 on Comcast Sportsnet. Your home for your home team. Bottom of the 7th inning coming, and our Chevron pitching matchup looks ahead to that game tomorrow. The Sunday pitching matchup is brought to you by Chevron. Care for your car. It's Brett Anderson, the lefty who was the opening day starter for the A's. He lost that game because King Felix was better for Seattle. 2-0 is the final there. Anderson pitching well, and Lucas Harrell also had that same fate, pitching well but losing. So they're both hoping for a win, run support, and still good pitching tomorrow. Now it's the lefty Sean Doolittle coming out of the bullpen with an ERA of 0 for his first 2 innings.
26-year-old left-hander. Just now in his second year in the big leagues, both with these Oakland A's.
83 pitches for Colon, 58 of them strikes. 6 innings, 8 hits, 3 runs allowed, no walks, 2 strikeouts for Colon. Matt Dominguez is 0 for 2. And strike one. Doolittle has an interesting story to tell. He is not a situational lefty. As you can see, he's facing Matt Dominguez right out of the chute with a 2-run lead. Altuve will be coming up in this inning. Pretty upright in his delivery, Blummer.
Going pretty firm, too. 93-mile-an-hour fastball coming to that inside corner.
Well, he was not a pitcher. He was converted to pitching just 2 years ago. He was a first base prospect. In fact, he was ranked the number 10 Oakland prospect by Baseball America in 2009. He was the University of Virginia career RBI leader, and also pitched and was the career wins leader. But then he became a pitcher just a couple of years ago.
I guess 95 on the heater.
What's he doing at first base with that arm?
Hard to figure.
Cutting down some runners trying to score at the plate. Jeez.
Yeah. Well, he had injuries, knee problems, surgery for a torn patella tendon. Foul back. Still 2-2. So he's a little bit late perfecting the slider, which has come along after that high octane fastball, 93 to 96. That's been the pitch he's been working on. Rick Ankiel hoping that the Astros can get something started here with Dominguez. And it's 3-2 to Matt.
Yeah, it's interesting with these guys that convert from a position to pitching. You know, it's one thing to throw a fastball, but you got to have those secondary pitches to go along with it. And right now we're just seeing heaters being pumped at Matt Dominguez right here. Be nice to see Matt get a hold of one. Young hitter like him, proving his worth of turning around fastballs. It'd be good. This count right here to guess and take a big hack. Too big.
Yep. Popped up on the left side. Lowry. 1 out. He had some fun with that one.
Marwin Gonzalez has been a big part of the offense here for the Astros. Of course, breaking up that perfect game of Yu Darvish. 2 outs in the 9th inning. Heartbreaker for Darvish. But he's also had some other big swings. Doubling down the line. And this earlier on the night, just reaching out and spoiling a very tough pitch down and away for a base hit. Marwin Gonzalez has also played solid defense and doing a fine job.
So in the orange Friday night uniforms, he got that hit left-handed. Now in the white Saturday night uniforms, he goes right-handed and 0 for 2 in this game. Doolittle pitched 44 times for Oakland last year. Had great strikeout numbers. In the air to right field for Reddick. 2 outs. Doolittle struck out 60 in 47 major league innings last year. And he had 18 holds coming in the later innings and holding on to a lead.
A guy like this will mess it up for all the guys who are known as soft tossing lefties.
Really will. Jose Altuve is 1 for 3. 5-game hitting streak for Altuve in the first 5. Well, Porter said it was either going to be tonight that he would use Altuve as the DH, which he's doing, or tomorrow. But that DH will give him the opportunity, of course, to put one more player in his starting lineup, to play one more guy. So for the young Astro club, it's probably going to be beneficial. It gives you a chance to give, out those extra 500 ABs or whatever it might be over the course of a full season to whomever the manager deems worthy of those, and get a better read on that extra position player. To right field, Reddick with the play to make it a 1-2-3 7th, with Oakland leading 5-3.
Dallas Keuchel still on the hill, and Keuchel, as he got his last man, that was Yoenis Cespedes for the A's to end the 7th inning. And we take a look at that through our pitch-by-pitch presented by Steel Dealers. He started him down and away, fell behind, but then that changeup becomes the big equalizer, a couple of them. And eventually Cespedes hurt himself. That allowed the door to be open with the fastball in the inside corner. Bill Brown called for it, got it, and great success right there for the strikeout.
Hey, it takes everybody.
It takes a village to win a game sometimes. Ryan Cook is warming up in the bullpen for Oakland. And we go to the, I don't think that phrase was meant to be applied to a baseball team, but nonetheless.
I think it fit.
Okay. Seth Smith to lead it off. He's 0 for 3. Keuchel had a 1-2-3 7th inning, meaning only 10 pitches, as you see at the top of your screen. And it's ball 1 for Dallas. One of those homegrown Astros, a 7th round pick in 09. It was mostly a double-A in 2011. High to left field. This might have the depth to get into those seats. And that's another opposite field shot by a left-handed batter in this game. Smith hits number 1 of the season to make it 6-3 Oakland.
Yeah, I hope these fans are booing the wind and not the pitchers right now, because off the bat, sitting up here, they just do not seem to have that kind of home run pop or life off the bat, and they're just carrying enough to get out of here.
For sure. They're high and don't seem to be that well driven.
I think you're dead on the money. Pitches away, left-hand hitters just kind of trying to go out there and do something with it, and that something is turning into long balls.
Strike to Moss. Moss 1 for 2 with a walk. Well, the Oakland ballpark still plays pretty big, doesn't it, Ash?
Certainly at nighttime. In the day, it can actually be a ballpark like Dodger Stadium that can be a pretty good place to hit. Okay. But you let it get dark and awfully tough.
These guys are finding this to be a haven tonight. 3 home runs. Looking bad. Marwin over to Pena. 1 out.
I think Jeff Blum calls this perfectly. Just a pitch that's away, but left up, and I think that also aids in being able to get this ball in the air. I'm not so sure that Brandon Moss realized he had something when he swung at this.
Yeah, it's just strange. You can still barrel the ball up, but I mean, it looked more as if he caught it on the uppercut and barreled it high into the sky. You know, plenty of height, but the trajectory just eventually pushed it out of the ballpark.
And I said Brandon Moss. That was Seth Smith.
Josh Donaldson 1 for 3, an RBI single in that 4-run sixth when Oakland grabbed the lead. Strike to Donaldson. The 3 home runs tonight give the A's 9 now in their first 6 games. Last year they hit 195, ranking in the middle of the pack in the American League for long balls. It's 1-1. Well, the Yankees just were on fire for home runs last season, but they lost a lot of their home run power and now have lost even more on the disabled list, so they're probably not the favorite to lead the league in long balls this year. 1 and 2. That Detroit club might do it, though, with Prince unloading a couple last night. They've got a healthy Victor Martinez back this year. And they got Torrey Hunter. Got a lot of pop in that lineup.
You think Miguel Cabrera might play into that?
He might add a few.
Yeah, you could put that ball club in Yosemite and they'd still hit it out of that place, man.
Well, it is Yosemite to center field, and he's the only guy that leaves there.
That's for sure.
Yeah,
see that,
I'm sorry, Brian.
See that graphic about home runs against the Yankees. Prince hit 2 in one game, and his dad had a multi-home run game or 2 against the Yankees in his career, joining the Select Company. Eduardo Perez and his dad also did that. And I was asking Eduardo about it. I said, is that right? They had you on the graphic on TV last night for a multiple home run game at Yankee Stadium with Randy Johnson starting.
Wow.
And another one off Mariano Rivera.
That's impressive. A couple Hall of Famers. Potential Hall of Famers. But I know I played with Eduardo in 2004 in Tampa Bay, and he absolutely annihilated left-handed pitching. It didn't matter who was on the mound.
Pitch looked pretty good, Ash.
Apparently so. Yeah, that's finding that area right at the inside corner. Toughest pitch to get called, my opinion, having caught a few years. That inside corner can be tough, where the outside corner will get a lot of called strikes.
Maxwell in center, 2 down. And it's exasperating, isn't it, to be a catcher with a left-handed pitcher on the mound, and the ball's coming right in on a right-handed batter. The umpire has a perfect view of it. It's exasperating when you don't get that call.
It's exactly that. Great word. And it's not just in a given scenario. Everybody's always saying you've got to work in. You've got to take that part of the plate away from the hitter, so he can't lean out over the plate all the time. And you come in, give a perfect pitch, and you don't get the call. And I have to say, most hitters, myself included, never felt like anything on that inside corner was a strike anyway, because you tend to be leaning out over the plate.
Strike to Norris. He's had one of the big hits in this game.
Funny with umpires, though, they'll tell you they put their nose right on the inside corner, and then it comes right at the nose and tough to call.
1-1 to Norris. 9 hits for the A's, 8 for the Astros, 1 costly error for Houston. In both of these big Oakland innings, last night and tonight, there's been an error involved. Bouncer Keuchel. Tossing to Pena. The Smith home run gives the Oakland A's a little bit bigger lead going to the bottom of the 8th inning. They're up by 3, 6-3.
Dynamos, Rockets, and more. We have all your sports news covered. Check out Sportsnet Central 7 days a week at 6, 10, and midnight on Comcast Sportsnet. Tonight's 10 Sportsnet Central is brought to you by TXU Energy.
You like this job, don't you?
I live for this, Brownie.
You're putting a lot into it, and I can just tell. Now, Ryan Cook comes in this game with a 3-run lead, so it's a hold situation if you're into that sort of thing. He's 25 years old. He was an all-star last year. Had a bad outing, as you can see from those numbers, and he felt that he was flying open. So Tuesday, his 15-inning scoreless streak was snapped. He can bring it up in the mid-90s.
Yeah, everything's firm from Ryan Cook. Hard fastball, hard slider.
He's a Southern Cal man, so you don't like him that much, do you?
I don't know. Southern California people have a tendency to have pretty good personalities, decent careers, good looking.
True. That's a good point.
Love generalities, excuse me. Yeah.
Well, how about
I
this?
thought you were going to say generous.
Generous
well,
generalities.
We know you're
yeah.
generous to Cal. We know that. It'll be Cedeno, Carter, and Pena in the Astros 8th inning. How about this Southern Cal rotation? Ryan Cook, Tommy Malone, and Ian Kennedy.
That would be good. The University of Southern California.
Those all Trojans?
I do believe.
All Trojans, and even the Cal Bears would have a hard time hitting that group.
Yeah, we had a hard time with a lot of teams in the pack. Well, it was actually the 6-pack when I was playing it. That'll date me a little bit.
Ronnie Cedeno 0 for 3. Take strike one.
Wait a minute now. I remember the Pac 8.
Yeah, I still played before that. I was a part of the 6-pack. Yeah,
really?
The Washington and Oregon schools had nothing to do with us.
They were not in with the baseball side, I guess, huh?
Yep.
Foul back, and Steve Sparks almost had another shot. No balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, Robert Ford, I think, is over there hiding underneath the desk watching his Syracuse Orangemen play right now.
How they faring?
They're losing.
They are down at this point. There's Sparky. Never nervous.
Ground ball foul. You know, Sparky and Blummer have really moved into the booth this year, Ash, and they've tackled this job. Sparky was showing up at 9:15 at spring training games, so we could hear Bo Porter address the media. And he made all the road trips, did all the broadcasts on radio, except for a couple.
Set a tough tone to follow, I have to tell you.
He's good. Foul back. Still no balls, 2 strikes, and he has 2 innings of play-by-play on radio, the 4th and 7th. He really is putting a lot into that. He's asking guys like you, Ash, what can I do to get better? That's impressive.
I have pointed him in your direction very quickly, Brownie.
No, sir.
Yes.
No, he's the man right now.
You want to become the best, you go to the best.
Yeah. Diving play, and Sogard gets his man. Cedeno went in head first, but Sogard laid out for it and takes care of out number 1.
That's just a tough break. Ronnie Cedeno fought up some really tough pitches right there. And probably thought he managed to hit that ball hard enough to sneak it through that hole, but Sogard ranging wide to his left, laying out and coming up and making the play.
Gets up the line quickly.
With those Clark Kent-like glasses, Sogard did everything but put a cape on for this play.
Yeah, he turned into a Superman right there, laying out, giving it a good dive.
That's impressive. Now Carter with strike 1. He's 0 for 3.
But the way the ball's flying out to left, it'd be fun to see Chris Carter get a hold of one right here and see what he can do with it.
We've heard from the Oakland staff that he hits monster shots. Ash, did you see any last year?
I saw him get a hold of a couple, as I recall.
Okay.
He's just one of those guys that can make it look so easy when he does it. And watching him on the spring, you get that impression that if he can fully find his game with the bat, he could become a monster at the plate.
Julia Morales has more. Julia.
Thanks, Ronnie. Yeah, I got a chance to talk to Chris before this series started. He said he's been looking forward to facing his old team since the spring, and it felt sweet to get that first hit of the season against his old team. I bet he'd be real excited to get a second hit right here.
The Astros need it, but that's strike 3. So Cook takes care of out number 2, catching the inside corner.
Yeah, it looked like a bit of a cement mixer right there. Sometimes you get these hard throwers that throw that slider extremely hard. Spun that one off, and Chris was looking for a little more of a break, and it backed up on that inside corner for the punch out.
I like that description, the cement mixer. It just kind of spins and doesn't do a whole lot.
Because you recognize the rotation and you anticipate it breaking a little bit more, and when it doesn't, it kind of locks the brain up, and the brain doesn't talk to the body and tell it to swing a little bit. But best pitch in baseball.
Boy. Sometimes the hanger will tie you up as much as anything else.
Pena's 1 for 3. Pena to center field. Crisp. In the 8th inning, it goes well for Ryan Cook, and it's 6-3 Oakland after 8.
Move it to the 9th inning. It's a whole new ball game for the Houston Astros, and prorated season ticket packages and flexible mini packages are available right now. To learn about all the exclusive benefits and pricing, call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com.
Saturday night crowd hoping for a big bottom of the 9th inning. First, here's the top of the 9th for Dallas Keuchel. 6-3 Oakland. And Eric Sogard has been a part of it with a key hit. With 2 strikes and 2 outs, an RBI single in the 6th inning, and some good plays at second base. He's 1 for 3. Showing bunt, looking at ball 1. This is the beginning of the 3rd inning of relief for Dallas Keuchel. The Astros will have Maxwell Castro and J.D. Martinez due up in the bottom of the 9th. The closer for the A's is Grant Balfour. Missing there. It's a 2-ball, no strike count now for Keuchel. Paid attendance tonight is 18,685. Phillies got 3 in the bottom of the 9th and knocked off Kansas City 4-3. Now 3-0 for Keuchel. Detroit beat the Yankees 8-4. Max Scherzer beating Phil Hughes. Vernon Wells hit his 2nd home run for the Yanks. There's Balfour getting loose. Vernon Wells had a good spring. He might actually help the Yankees. It's been a while since he's had one of his really big years.
When he was good, he was really good.
Wasn't he, though? Yeah.
Signed that enormous contract in Toronto. But even defensively, it seemed like some of the game got away from him, maybe a little prematurely.
Check swing call. Whoops. Come back. Grab the bat. You're still up, and it's 3-2.
Let's see, does that bat get through the zone? I would say yes.
Pena takes it. 1 out.
Nice battle back by Dallas Keuchel after falling behind 3-0.
It'll be very helpful for tomorrow's game if he can finish this 9th inning here and make it a 3-pitcher ball game. Barring extra innings, that is. Coco Crisp is coming up next. He homered in the 4th. He's 1 for 4.
Yeah, first day up, and he's going to make some friends out of the bullpen if he can get through this one right here. Give them an extra day's rest.
Absolutely. Liner, left field corner. Backhanded there, but it's going to be a double. Crisp in with a 2-base hit, his 4th of the season. Man, he's been on an extra base hit rampage in this series. Last night he had a homer and 2 doubles. Tonight another homer and another double.
Little man, big impact. Stays on the baseball well.
Yeah, playing in right there as a third baseman with a bullet like that, you've got no chance.
Big series underway for Crisp. He's in scoring position with 1 out for Lowry now. Jed has a single and a homer himself tonight. He was robbed last time up by Gonzalez. Lowry recognized that it was a good opportunity for him when he was traded to Oakland, going with this contending club, but he enjoyed his time in Houston, he said. That deal was made in February. And at that point, the Astros had a shortstop competition then. After Lowry left, he would have been one of the anchors of the team had he stayed, but the Astros felt that they had to make that deal with the attractive package they were able to get in return. And then that opened it up for Tyler Green to battle with Marwin Gonzalez. Green didn't make the club, and Ronnie Cedeno did very late in spring training after he was released by the Cardinals. So there's a lot of shortstop shuffling going on. The line shot to right. That's a hit. It's dropped, but it's 1st and 3rd now. 1 out on the sharp single to J.D. Martinez in right.
Well, that's good hitting. When you can take it the other way like that, and it looked like Lowry had that completely in mind. It's not like it was a pitch well away and he could only do that with it. He just stayed right there and shot it.
Smart player. And he had that advantage of playing behind Keuchel a lot last year. So now it's 1st and 3rd with Reddick batting. Reddick is 0 for 4.
Well, your comments are kind of thought-provoking, I think, in terms of where the Astros are right now. Obviously, a team that's trying to develop young talent. And it would seem that the biggest talent right now that would intrigue other teams would be maybe some of the starting pitching. If those guys continue to pitch well and other teams start to call and say, what would it take? Are you willing to listen?
The feeling that might be an ongoing theme throughout the year, depending on situations and opportunities that do arise.
Again, it comes down to the commitment. Are you fully committed to going young?
Well, the A's are a good case in point because they typically have traded good young starting pitching, just beginning to emerge and looking like being set up for a nice career. They'll take a guy with 2 or 3 years in the big leagues and deal him.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know how they continue to restock the way they do. But I do think that it helps when you've got a ballpark, 81 of your games at home, a ballpark that tends to favor the pitchers. And they go in there, they seem to have early success, and it maybe breeds further success.
Keuchel goes to Cedeno. Cedeno to Pena. Double play. 1-6-3 to end the top of the ninth inning. No runs, 2 hits, and a man left. Bottom of the ninth coming. The A's are up by 3, 6-3. Is brought to you by Progressive. Visit Progressive.com today. And by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at Southwest.com. It is 6-3 Oakland. Grant Balfour will be coming in, but first, here's Alan Ashby.
Dallas Keuchel got himself a nice double play ground ball hit into by Josh Reddick, and it's a chance to look at the pitch by pitch, presented again by Steel Dealers. Keuchel works on the tough left. He finally jams him as he gets the ground ball, softly hit back to the mound, and then becomes a defensive player. Starts at 1-6-3. Nicely done.
Grant Balfour is the closer. Cook had a 1-2-3 inning, including a strikeout. Balfour, who had arthroscopic knee surgery during spring training, has been in only one game. And you can see his numbers from that one game this season. Last year, he was 24 of 26 in saves. Balfour's 35 years old. He's one of the Australians on this team. He's from Sydney.
But he's not a left-handed Australian.
No. Travis Blackley now has left the A's and gone to the Astros. So Grant has come in 75 times last year and struck out 72 in 74 innings, trying to get off that kind of a start. He had 2 stints as the closer, kind of lost his job and then got it back, and he had 18 straight saves to finish the season last year.
He's a pretty excitable guy. Very animated, intense out there, screaming at himself most of the time, maybe at the hitters every now and then. Makes for an interesting closing situation.
He was signed as a free agent by the Twins in '97. He was with Cincinnati, Milwaukee, Tampa Bay. Oakland got him as a free agent prior to 2011. He had Tommy John surgery several years ago. And that right knee surgery was in mid-February, so he didn't make his first spring training appearance until March 21st. Justin Maxwell leads it off. He is 2 for 3. The A's have the edge in hits, 11-8. Strike at 93 for Balfour.
Astros are still kind of looking for the identity of their ball club too. You got such a turnover in the roster that you're still trying to search for yourselves a little bit. It'd be interesting to see, in some of these late games, if they can come back and start creating a little bit of an image for themselves.
Yeah, that could be very big. That bounces for ball 2. 2 balls and a strike. They grabbed the lead with a 3-run 4th inning on the Castro homer, but the A's have stopped them since then. Oakland getting 4 in the 6th and hitting 3 home runs in this game tonight. Fly ball left field. Cespedes over. 1 out. Jason Castro has 2 of the Astros' 8 hits tonight. A 3-run homer to left and a single to right.
Yeah, 6 of the 8 hits are coming up this inning. I think that would bode well for us, hopefully.
That was one quality in spring training. The Astros had some come from behind wins. They put together hits late in games. There's ball 1. Bo Porter's been talking about, hey guys, it's 162 games here, so don't worry about pressing. Don't hang your heads when you lose a game. Just approach each game at a time.
I think when you're going to get that offense going, clicking as a club, you need 3 or 4 guys swinging it pretty well at any given time. And to see Jason Castro get things going tonight, JD Martinez, maybe some nice steps moving forward. But clearly, this is one of the bats that, with his pop and abilities, you need him to be very productive.
1-2 the count. Well, that could be very helpful to the offense if he can swing the bat with authority. The Astros have been more of a defensive club in terms of catchers' offensive production the last few years. In 2010, their catchers combined to hit 229 homers, 39 runs batted in. Castro's call for a swing, and that's a strikeout. 2 outs.
Well, that's a tough walk when you head back to the dugout. You feel that you didn't have the bat go through the zone. More often than not, it does, even when players don't think so, and I would have to say it did there.
Yeah, it's always tough. You never think you actually do it. Then you go back upstairs, you watch the videotape, and you're like, gosh darn it, I did go.
JD Martinez is 2 for 3. Hit into a double play in the 6th. Strike for Balfour. The A's with a win tonight would be 4-2. They didn't start rolling until early June last year. Fly ball right, Reddick. And the A's have captured the first 2 of this series. Tonight they win it 6-3. A win for Bartolo Colon. Save goes to Grant Balfour. Bob Melvin's club now has won 4 and lost 2 to open the season. Final score tonight is Oakland 6 and Houston 3.